All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally live. It only took forever because for whatever reason, Kurt's microphone wasn't working. I couldn't hear him. So I was using a different app, different process to try to get on here. And when that happens, sometimes there are these little accidents. Kurt, can we hear you now? I don't know.
I don't know. You tell me.
Yes. Thank God we could finally hear you.
I have a walking glitch, so thank goodness that we got this straightened out.
I'm a walking glitch. It's true. I don't know what the deal is. Kurt, for some reason, he's technology does not like him.
It's mutual.
Although when we first started the show, it was actually Jason. We had a problem with Jason's equipment wasn't working. That's why the first episode was like an hour late airing or something like that. Rick Humphrey, thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate this. Kurt, though, is usually the one that has a problem. Kurt, why don't we start the show? We'll just talk real quickly about our personal lives. Kurt, maybe you could tell us a story about how you destroyed your laptop once.
Oh, you want to hear this story? Okay, the story that your brother John still does not believe, or
he would not
assumes
believe
that he heard you wrong or something. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is when I was living in Oregon 15 years ago, thereabouts. Not long after you and I became friends, and I was snacking on some pickles. So I had a jar of pickles, and I think it was resting on maybe just a small table or maybe bedside or something. Sitting in my chair, laptop on my lap. So I'm like, okay, I'm done with these pickles. Put the jar on the top. It's off to my right. Jar's on. I lift it, and as I'm moving it across like a split second, as it's drifting over my laptop keyboard, it spills all over the keyboard, and I'm just like, what the hell just happened? I'm holding the lid of the jar. And the jar itself, the bottom fell out of the jar. Like somehow it's as though it was sheared off.
The natural assumption would be that the lid
came
popped
off.
off.
And the thing broke or spilled. Yeah, like the lid wasn't secure. No, I've got the lid and all of the jar except the bottom. And the pickles and the juice and the little nerdly like garlic and whatever. All of that's the laptop's completely messed up because it's got all that stuff spilt all over it and the bottom of the jar. So yeah, I'm the luckiest man in the world when it comes to technology.
It always breaks for him. It never works for him. I've known this guy for years. I don't understand it. I bought him AirPods once, and they never worked. They literally
I tried to get
never
those to
worked
use before I bought these, and I wasn't able to get them to work. That's a surprise.
And I kept telling him, just go to the Apple store. They will replace them. He was like, I don't want to bother with all that. So he never did, which is crazy.
Instead I just took them one by one and I threw them off of my balcony and shot them with a shotgun, and that was the end of it.
All right, well, that was a huge waste of time. Jason, what do we got up? What's the first topic? Yeah, that was my fault.
So the first topic,
never ask Kurt to tell a story.
First topic today is January 6th committee. January 6th committee Democrats say they fear Trump will put them in jail. And,
no. We were going to talk about something else first. We had a whole other discussion.
I apologize in advance because I have a dry cough. I'm going to try to keep it under control. But
how dare you?
I probably swallowed an AirPod or something. Are we talking about man something?
Yes.
Main character syndrome?
Main character syndrome. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly.
That's right.
Chris,
I told you guys to set it up. I told you guys to set it up because I
just did.
I come up with an idea for the show and I don't remember what the idea is, so I need you guys to prompt me.
Okay. So
I don't know. So I don't know how that got lost, but yeah, okay.
So there's this phenomenon of a bitter feminist calling like main character syndrome, in which a guy walks through a crowd with good posture and women post a video with a caption, something like, this guy thinks he's the main character or something. So yeah.
Have you guys looked into this at all? Or did you just read this?
I've never heard of that. I never heard of it. This is the first time I ever hear of it.
I read the paragraph you sent me through Signal, and now I'm fully informed on this topic.
Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company. Thank you very much for responding. Interestingly, he gave us a super chat and he calls us My Ninjas, which is ironic because the application that failed us getting on the air today was called Video Ninja. So that's unintentionally appropriate. Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company. Anyway.
So yeah, explain to me this phenomenon, because this is new to me.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple videos like this where like this guy's walking through a crowd, he's got like a nice suit on, you know, he's looking good, he's got good posture, he's walking with intention, and some girl's videoing him and she writes something like, you know, on the screen she writes something like this guy thinks he's the main character, right? And then there was another one with a guy without his shirt on walking through a concert, obviously very tall guy, very ripped guy. And she's like, this guy suffers from main character syndrome. And I was just like watching that thinking like, okay, you know, it might be the reason why these guys might be getting mocked by these chicks, okay, is like, it's possible, like I kind of noticed this in the videos, it's possible that these guys are, you know, maybe making up for some lack of confidence, right? Some like lack of self-esteem or whatever. And it's kind of visible. You can kind of tell, you know, like, okay, if you're a confident guy and you walk into a room, you are going to kind of be the main character in some ways, right? In some ways, you're going to get attention because not a lot of people have innate confidence. And so you kind of will be the main character. Like I spent one CPAC with Gorka, and he walks through the crowd, and everybody wants to talk to him, you know, because he's like super famous. Everybody wants to talk to him, and he's very, very tall. You know, he's got this booming voice. So yeah, when he walks into a room, he typically is the main character, right? But it's not something he's trying to do. This guy with like the super nice suit on, you know, kind of strutting a little bit. Maybe the reason is because he looks like he's trying a little bit too hard. Maybe that's what she's saying. But I really don't like this criticism that this guy thinks he's the main character. Because you know what? We're all the main characters in our own lives. Okay. If you're not the main character in your own life, you're doing something wrong. Okay. I mean, I understand that for parents, sometimes the main character is their kids. That was delightful, by the way, Kurt.
So I have an itch that I couldn't get rid of.
Sometimes the main character for parents is children. That's unavoidable. But for the most part, when you're living your life, you probably should be the main character of your life. And so I don't like that this is becoming a trend, that people are getting mocked for believing that when they walk into a room, at least from their perspective, they're the main character. Of course they are. Of course they are. It's America. And look, do I think that America is a little bit too narcissistic? They need to be more humble? Yeah, sure. But let me tell you this. The chiz posting that on TikTok or whatever, they obviously think they're the main character. You know, so why are they complaining that these guys think that they're the main character? Like, if you want to be the main character in your life and you're not, right? Or you feel like you have to do something to become the main character or something like that, I would say just be more interesting. Just be a more interesting person. You know, find something interesting about yourself and live your life with confidence. Like, you know, my brother, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. My brother is, right? And he never says that to anybody. He would never tell anybody that. I don't think he's ever told anyone outside like the family. I like literally never told anyone. I tell everybody because I'm like, I want to bask in the reflected glory of my brother's black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I'll tell everybody.
Anytime someone picks on you, you're like, you better watch out. But
yeah. You better watch out. My brother knows martial arts. Yeah. That's what I tell him. But that's a pretty cool thing. And the thing is, I think there's kind of some power in not telling people about that, because he walks around knowing that he could probably kick the butt of most people that he walks by. You know what I mean? Like little things like that, or just knowing that you do a good day's work at your job, like you do your job with integrity, and you don't have to talk about it all the time, but you just know that, right? And that gives you confidence and that kind of thing. So I do think being an interesting person. Unbearable Truth wrote, we got to get this person on the show. They're pretty funny. Unbearable Truth writes, I can't get more interesting. Wait, I'll shave a line in my eyebrow. Yeah, that's a popular thing now, actually. I have a line in one of my eyebrows. I think this one, because when I was a little kid, I got somebody hit me with a tennis racket, and I was bleeding all over the side.
Same here. I got head first into a gate, and I have a scar there. And sometimes I'll actually make it more pronounced if I feel like I want to be the main character that day, you know.
I love that. Yeah. I think I'm getting to that age where sometimes you actually have to pluck an eyebrow because you get like a wild one. You get those ever,
yeah.
Jace?
I'm having my wife pluck them out all the time. It's annoying. I tell him, look, my old man hair is growing.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
But I think
I tend to try to keep them. Yeah. No, go on.
Well, what you and Jason were saying there, especially Jason, you're talking about the eyebrow thing. It's just like, okay, that's something that you both naturally have. And I think that the idea of the shaving it in there, it's sort of like the idea of roughing up your genes, so it makes like you did an honest day's work at some point in your life. You know, it's sort of like
absolutely, that's what it is. Yeah,
and that's kind of what you were saying with at the start. It's like, oh, they don't like these people because they're putting on airs, and of course, people don't like that. People don't like phonies. So if the guy is strutting around like he's King S, then women or anybody might be like, look at this guy, like what a clown. But that's not the thought that I had actually. The first thought that I had was, okay, these people are projecting. So you see this guy. He looks like he has confidence. They don't have confidence. They're going, oh, what a faker, what a phony, because he must be faking because I don't have confidence. And and in fact, I'm going to go to the extreme, point to this guy and be like, don't be like this guy. But I mean, it just seems like, I mean, what's next? He's going to be like man breathing. Like, oh, I was in a yoga class and this guy, I could literally hear him breathing in and out. His chest was expanding to a degree that I didn't feel safe. He was taking up too much room. I mean, it's ridiculous. So the person that says the kind of stuff is complaining about somebody looking like they have confidence is just basically advertising themselves as a nut. Sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think he's taking the attention away from her. I think that's her issue.
Or this is the kind of guy that wouldn't talk to me. So I don't like him. I'm gonna find something, anything to dislike about it.
Oh, he's taking the attention away from me. So let me just post something and be the main character.
Yeah, I don't really like this pointing these guys out. Like I'm a little bit too critical of people sometimes. I noticed this, especially when I was like a teenager and in my early 20s. I was very hypercritical of everybody, and then I realized I was kind of being a dick a little bit by like like stupid stuff that I shouldn't really worry about. I just thought, oh, this person seems artificial. This person seems phony, whatever. And I think my mom actually fixed my brain about that kind of stuff, being overly critical. Because she basically said, look, Chris, your problem is that you have certain things that you're really good at, and other people just aren't good at those things. And instead of like looking at the positive, you're looking at somebody who is insufficient in some area in which you excel, and you're saying, why does this person suck in this way? And she was right. Like I was being so hypercritical of people because like we all have things that we're good at, right? Like I'm pretty good at speaking. I always had a broad vocabulary. I'm good at rhetoric. I can make a good, argument. I can develop a good debate strategy, I guess, in discussion and speaking. Like suddenly I can't talk, but you understand. Like normally I can talk pretty good. I can talk pretty good. So normally I speak well, is what I'm trying to say. And lots of people, they just don't speak very well. And so I listen to people say things where maybe they have a good point, but they don't articulate themselves well. And I think, why is this person speaking like this? Why don't they just say this, right? And it's very obvious to me, but not everybody speaks well. And so I always took that for granted. And I was like hyper judgy about that. And my mom kind of put that in my head, like, why are you being such a dick? You know, I'm like, she's right. Why am I being...
Is that why you have me and Kurt on the show? Because we don't speak well and make you look even better.
Speak for yourself.
It's called juxtaposition. It's a beautiful.
That's why he can't speak as well. We're here. He's intimidated. He's used to being the main character on his show, and now he's got two other guys who can't handle it.
It's horrible. It's humiliating.
I think a lot of people do that though. I think a lot of people do that where they're like, well, I have a degree, so if you don't have a degree, then you're inferior, or something like that. Right. Or women will do it with like, oh, I'm prettier than her, so my value is higher. Yeah. Guys like, oh, yes, I got bigger biceps, so this guy is like this wimpy guy. He doesn't matter. But it's really just sort of like when it comes to that way of quantifying yourself in every situation. I mean, we all do it unconsciously, I think, to a degree.
Bye.
What's a show without Kurt going in and out?
I know. Let's bring him back. Here we go.
We missed your whole thing,
Kurt. Chris is just like, nope.
Oh, that's what it is. It's Chris.
This is not the Kurt show. Boop. All right, there we go.
Good one.
I've had enough of you.
I guess he likes me. I guess he likes me because he never pushes the button on me. So Kurt,
I never delete Jason.
Jason's very non-threatening. You just want to give him a big hug. He's like
Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim speculates that Kurt dropped some pickles on his laptop again.
Oh yes.
Anyway, you were saying, Kurt?
No, I think I was pretty much through.
Oh. Well,
anyway, look.
Cell phones have become a problem.
You think you think it's the cell phone thing? Just the fact
one of the greatest inventions, I think, is like a cell phone, because it's like so amazing. You have all the world's information right here. You can actually become a genius now because of your phone. But what do they use it for? To call out dudes wearing stuff.
Very good point. A lot of it's the social media effect, because they had that South Park episode where everybody with a what is that thing called where you review the food online? What is that?
Yelp.
Yeah, Yelp. So all these Yelpers that go to the restaurant, and now everybody's a food critic, right? Or if they don't use Yelp, they use Instagram or something else. So now everybody with a smartphone is like, oh, I'm a content creator. I'm a lifestyle expert or whatever. It's just sort of like we become so wrapped up in that idea that three jerks can just like say whatever they think is funny into their phone and just like try to put it on a YouTube channel somewhere. Just like, come on,
shut up, Kurt. Shut up, Kurt. You're giving the game away. Listen. I think that our society has become hypercritical of everything all the time, and you're right. It's a lot of it has to do with social media, but it's also the sort of like, I don't know, like you remember the movie. What was that movie? From Mean Girls. Do you remember Mean Girls? The movie Mean Girls?
Sure.
That's kind of a relic today, because that movie was made, I think, before we had social media and everything, which changed the game completely. But you do have certain nasty people in the world that they just want to criticize everything all the time. And I have a problem with this just because, like I said, because I used to kind of be like that for a short period of my life until I was called out. And like, I think if good people are called out on that, they'll stop doing it. But I think there are some people who don't care and they will just do this forever. And so I think we're kind of just stuck with these kind of people.
That's a good point too. You had a bad trait. Someone pointed out to you, you realized it, and you evolved. You grew out of sort of a petty sort of behavior. People don't do that anymore. People are like, I'm living my own truth. I'm fine the way I am. Whatever. I was born this way. I'm a beautiful snowflake. And just like, if you have like a-hole tendencies now, it's sort of like, oh, that's just your personality. Let's not have to worry on that.
This is actually a good line. If somebody ever says to you, that they were born gay, I'm sorry, you can't discriminate against me. I was born this way. Just turn to them and say, well, I was, that's an interesting coincidence because I was born homophobic. I can't actually help that. I was just born this way. But anyway,
yeah, but I love the fact that they post all this stuff, because it just lets everyone see like people's true colors, and I think it wakes people up to how people are in today's society and all that. So yeah.
That happened a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that would help shift the culture better in a better direction.
Already. During the COVID lockdowns, you had all these like movie stars and musicians and stuff. They couldn't be in the public eye because everybody was stuck in their houses. So they're stuck in their houses. They're bouncing off the walls because they don't have the attention of the masses. So what do? They get in a
say all kinds of stupid stuff,
and they're just like, I'm home in my mansion. I'm suffering during lockdowns. And the normal people.
Was that the time where they did the whole song? Where they did the whole song thing?
Yeah. So that was great for culture and for society, because a lot of people realized that these celebrities are d-bags.
Yeah.
There's a guy
what's the saying?
Twitter.
Never meet the person you something saying like that.
Don't meet your heroes.
Yes.
It's all right. If you meet me, I'll be just as awesome in person.
People are just people, but celebrities are just like normal people, only worse.
Exactly true. Look, there's a guy. I wish I could find this guy. I was just looking on Twitter to see if I could find him. I forget what his name is because he's an awesome guy. There's this guy, and he's really shredded, handsome guy, and he always shows these videos of like women in the gym laughing at men or pointing at them men or checking them out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and he's
swole,
like,
something
this
swole.
is not. Yeah, swole, something. And he's like, this is not good gym etiquette. Like, don't be a bitch, don't be a dickhead, And I love it. Because he's kind of all about like encouraging people to be better. And I think that the concept of the guy who's like walking around and he thinks he's the main character or whatever, I actually think that's kind of a good thing. Like, there is Joey Swole. These guys in the comments, they know who he is. Yeah, Joey Swole. Yeah, this guy's awesome. Like, he deserves all the likes he gets. Like, sometimes as like a content creator, a YouTuber, I look at other YouTubers and I'm like, how are they doing better than me? Like, they should. This person is not as good as I am. Like, my show is way better. This guy, Joey Swole, okay, he deserves it all. Like, he deserves to be one of the biggest people on Twitter, on TikTok, whatever he uses. He's amazing because he's all about encouraging people to go to the gym. He knows not everybody can get to his level all the time. I don't know, what he does or why he's like so jacked or whatever, but however he got to where he's got, he knows other people, they got to start somewhere. And as long as you encourage them to continue and to do better with their lives, that's a good thing. And I think the same is true of these guys who think, with this main character syndrome, like, you are the main character. Yes, you should act like it. You know what I mean? And there is something to faking it till you make it. And I think if somebody's walking through a crowd of people and they try to walk with integrity and good posture and, this sense of confidence, and they don't quite pull it off, that's all right. You know what? You might think it's a little bit awkward. You might cringe a little bit, but keep it to yourself. You don't need to complain about them on social media and mock them like a psychopath. So I guess that's my conclusion about that. You guys got anything else to say about it, or should we move on to the next story?
When you were saying that, I was thinking it's kind of like Christianity. Like, you try to do the best you can, even though you're never going to be without sin. I mean, none of us are Jesus. None of us are perfect. But does that mean
exactly?
Does that mean we
That's
just
exactly
like say, oh, screw it, I'll just be a jerk? No, you try to be the best Christian you can be. You will fail, inevitably, sometimes in big or small ways, but that doesn't mean you go like, you just throw in the towel and be like, well, I'm just going to walk, I'm just going to slouch, I'm just going to like avert my eyes from people. If I see somebody in trouble, I'm not going to intervene. So it's like, no, that's giving up on life. So yeah, be the main character by all means, especially if you're a Christian. We need more main character Christians out there.
Yeah, it is. I guess, I didn't really think about it until you said that, but yeah, I guess that stems from this baseline Christian ethic is really what it is.
And the idea that you should like whatever, slouch your shoulders or like look down when you're walking, whatever, so you might not offend somebody who's easily offended. That's just ridiculous. Let them be offended. Okay, I'm done.
All right, Jace, what we got? What do we got coming up?
Okay, so January 6th committee Democrats say they fear Trump will put them in jail. House Democrats who led an investigation into former President Donald Trump's role in the January 6th Capitol riot say they are worried about their safety and being arrested if the former president wins re-election. I think this is first of all, it's projection, and not only that, it's like they know they did wrong, so they do deserve to be in jail. Worse than that, I think. I
guess it's projection, but sorry, go ahead.
It's quite a rich irony, isn't it? It's like what you guys, I know that we've been prosecuting Donald Trump on all these ridiculous charges, but you know what the truth is? We are the real victims. Because you know what? Because we have inappropriately prosecuted Donald Trump, persecuted, you might say, totally corruptly, we might actually be held accountable for this corruption. My God, could you imagine? When I was running for Congress, I never thought for a second I'd ever be held accountable for my crimes. And that's actually what it all boils down to from the beginning, right? The reason they're trying to keep Trump out is they don't want to be held accountable for past corruption. And in order to keep him out, they're being more corrupt. And so now they're sitting there and they're complaining because they might be held accountable for their corruption now. Yourself. That's what I got to say.
You know what? I think this is a great strategy by them, though, because I think by saying that stuff, they think they're going to influence him not to do anything to them. So, like, in other words, like, say this, and maybe he'll be like, yeah, okay, I can't look like I'm going to put them in jail.
That we say you are,
yeah, exactly. But
this is a very standard leftist tactic, of course. But no, it shouldn't work. What should happen is they should all go to prison. They need to be investigated for this. I think they need to have all their social media, all their communications looked at by a prosecutor and put into evidence and tried and hopefully convicted of election interference. And there are laws, maybe people in the comments know, there are laws against just, going after people who are completely innocent of crimes, and they're innocent of crimes, right? I forget what the term is. I got it kind of like in my brain somewhere floating. Maybe I'll get it before the end of the show.
The only thing that I'm coming up with is wrongful prosecution. I don't know.
Wrongful prosecution, maybe that's it. And I probably only know that from TV shows because I am not a lawyer.
That's definitely not where I know it from.
He knows that from being.
When I saw this headline that you sent me, the thing I pictured was basically like an old west town, and like the paper like blows by, somebody picks it up, looks at it. It's like, new sheriff in town, outlaws fear being shot. It's just like, oh really?
Right?
Everybody. It's just like, well, yeah. If the guy that actually like is for the people and enforces the laws and is like just, if he gets back into power, then you jerks are on the hook. Yeah, thanks.
Scott Pilgrim chimed in. Malicious prosecution, he calls it. Malicious prosecution. Okay, I love that. That sounds correct to me. And he does say that he's a lawyer. Okay, so probably that's true. I mean, he knows a hell of a lot more than I do about this. My father
guy, I bet he thinks he's the main character, Mr.
Yeah, I bet you think you're the main character. Scott Pilgrim versus the world. He actually is the main character.
The J6 committee, I think treason. That's what I think.
Well, that we don't really have laws against treason specifically in America.
Well, Trump needs to make new ones when he's president for that.
Well, there's a very
because look, they're trying to influence the upcoming election. They're trying to get rid of a man that is potentially going to be the next president. Even during that time when they were doing the J6 stuff, it's an obvious it's obvious to me what they were doing. And I think it's treason.
Well, listen. The reason they don't have this is actually kind of hilarious. The reason that they don't have a treason law in the Constitution is very specifically because in England they used to try and convict anybody who basically criticized the government of treason at the time America was being founded, right? So they were like, well, we don't want treason to be used as this like cudgel to attack your political enemies. So we're not going to allow treason to be a law in our U.S. Constitution. Now, what's funny about that is that the Democrats are going every which way trying to essentially charge Donald Trump with the equivalent of treason. Yes. They're coming after him in exactly the way that the Founding Fathers were concerned that a corrupt political official would come after somebody if they had that law. That's why we don't have... okay, James Hollerand just chimed in, not just malicious prosecution, but maladministration of justice by the court. Man, I love these terms. These all sound real. I'm not a lawyer, but I love this stuff.
That's why we need a Vivek in there, or what's the one, the mayor from New York, Giuliani in there to start charging these people.
Well, not necessarily as president, but definitely in the administration to help.
Yeah, in the administration, exactly. Not as president, in the administration.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to the next story? You guys got extra stuff you want to say?
That's a good idea.
So this is
Kurt. Hold on, real quick. Kurt.
Yeah.
What? Usually, if I'm talking to Kurt in a private conversation, Kurt's got puns, and I don't really understand why. But he is like,
not really coming to me.
He's no. In every episode, we've never heard a pun. Okay, I want more puns. I hate them, but I think they're necessary for the entertainment value of the show.
Okay, I'll try to think in that frame of mind.
1, 2. I'm just going to throw this to you, Jace, because it's annoying the hell out of me, and I know you want to talk about it. So, Jason is obsessed with this dumb idea, okay, that everybody on Twitter is going nuts about, which is this idea that that Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, is a rhino. Oh, he's a rhino because I disagree with him. He's a rhino. And he's posted all these stories for me to read in the morning.
Or establishment hack.
Right. Because he wants to keep proving this point. Okay, we had this debate last week. We don't
look. It just pisses me off. Like this guy, he's pissing me off. It's
fair enough.
It's these Republicans, like they get into power and they just end up like giving in to the Democrats and or do nothing and it just pisses me off. Like, and then when somebody like MTJ, is that how they call her? MTJ is like, we got to get rid of him. Everybody's like, oh no, you can't. Why not? Like,
it's MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, and then I learned that he once he became speaker, he starts putting in all these people from the establishment in control of his all his stuff there, and I'm like, that's not a coincidence. Why is it when they get into power, they hire all these people that are a part of the establishment? Why can't they just hire people that are not a part of the establishment and change the damn system? It just pisses me off. And for me, it's an important subject because I'm sick of it. Decades of this crap.
There's two stories he sent me on this dumb thing. One story was that Speaker Johnson said that because he's got such a slim majority, he's got to work with some Democrats, which is like, okay, let me explain something to you guys about Jason specifically. All right. Jason is a burn it all down nihilist. All right. Jason's been, as he calls himself, black pilled, right? He's one of these guys who's like, F the system, F it all, burn it all down, right? So there is nothing that Mike Johnson could do, I don't think, besides that Jason's going to appreciate. Look,
yeah,
I don't
not send money to Ukraine, not sign FISA bills that,
All right, I wanted to let you get
stop immigration, stop illegal immigration.
I want you to let you get your stuff out, but let me just give you quickly the counterpoint, which is that obviously, if you are a politician in Washington D.C., if you're an honest politician, you're the kind of person who actually wants to fix the system as opposed to burning it down, right, Jason? Mm-hmm. Right? You can kind of
you're not going to fix it working with Democrats.
Regardless, that's your idea. That's not maybe Mike Johnson's idea, right? So if Mike Johnson wants to fix it and he thinks this is the best way to do it, he might not be a rhino. He might be acting in good faith, trying to fix the system in the best way he can. We might disagree with him.
We've tried that for way too
long. You're
so
sick. Hold on, Jason. Stop interrupting. All right. You're so sick of what? You're sick of people who don't do exactly what you want in public. Look,
no, I'm sick of Republicans trying to work with these people that are trying to destroy our country. like.
Look, I agree with that. I would not work with them at all. I'm just trying to tell you, like, okay, what is your definition of a rhino? Is it just anybody who disagrees with anything that Jason thinks ever? Is that your definition of a rhino?
No, of course not.
All right. So your definition of rhino is intent and motivation. I think you need a hell of a lot more evidence of intent and motivation than just he has expressed this belief that he has to work with a couple of Democrats in order to get some stuff done in Washington.
And two, his voting. What he's trying to put across.
Hold on. Secondly, you sent me an article about this guy who works for him that has been exposed as not liking Trump, but that's a guy who works in his office. Mike Johnson may not have even known about that. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have people that work with you that they don't tell you everything because they know you're not going to like it, but it's their own private life that, that they expose these things and stuff like that. So you're making all these, you're very quickly jumping to the conclusion that he's a rhino. And then every time there's evidence that might support that, might not, you make the assumption that it supports that position because that's what you want to believe. But because you're a nihilist. So anyway, I wanted to give you an opportunity to say your thing because you're like, so whatever, you're like obsessed with this idea. It's stupid. But look, I don't want to talk about this on the show every goddamn week. All right. I want to just like, if there's a big story that shows that Mike Johnson's a rhino, okay, we'll cover that. Or if there's a big story that shows that Mike Johnson does something that we like, then we'll cover that. We don't have to cover every tiny little news story about Mike Johnson that comes out so that Jason can go, see, I told you. There's some little thing that might indicate maybe. It's like, no, that's not what this show is supposed to be. Anyway, I wanted to have that debate out here.
Jason needs his own outlet. He needs so when we're not on the show, he can be like the Rhino Hunter and have like a Patreon or something.
I'm sure you guys are both going to surpass me very, very soon. And who is this Jason Crow? And can we delete him from the chat? Because or Jason Joseph?
I was going to say you got a problem with all the Jasons today, don't you? You see what you're doing?
No. Ban user and delete their comments. Done. All right. I don't like trolls. I don't like trolls. It's funny. Like somebody once asked me about recently about when I'm on Twitter if I block people, right? And I try really hard not to block anyone because I want to hear other people's perspectives. But on Twitter, because my name is Mr. Reagan, because my YouTube channel is Mr. Reagan, you get these weird, especially these trans people, you get these weird people who come on and they say something like, if I make a comment they don't like, they'll jump in and they'll be like, I'm so glad that, Ronald Reagan died on the toilet crying, and it's like, well, actually, Ronald Reagan did not die on the toilet. Maybe he was crying. I don't know. None of us were there, but I'm not Ronald Reagan. Like, why are you writing that to me? It's completely irrelevant to anything. And you get these people who write the weirdest stuff that's completely irrelevant to what I posted, and they're just kind of trying to be a dick. So I will block them because I feel like they're kind of a distraction for the rest of the conversation. Right. And so, I don't know. So bye, Kurt.
Yeah, bye, Kurt. Anyway, so just really quick. We should let the chat decide, and I want to see what the chat says about Mike Johnson. Say yes if he's a rhino, or no if he's not a rhino.
No, Jason, yes. I told you this is not going to be. No, this is not going to be.
Every episode
Mike Johnson, a rhino.
Okay, look, the last time. This will be the last time. Like you said, if something
no,
big
Jason,
happens,
it's not the last time. It's not the last time. It's not the last time because there will be big stories in the future. You just have to be a little bit patient.
That's what I'm saying. Unless there's a big story. See, here we go.
What do you mean?
Thank you. My people in the chat. You see?
Yeah, but they don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows whether or not he's a rhino or not at this point. There's no hard evidence to suggest that he's new on the job.
I'm beyond the point of giving people the benefit of the doubt because we've been failed way too much. But anyway,
we've already established you're black-pilled, yes. You're a nihilist, you're a pessimist. We've established all that. You don't need to keep saying it. We get it. Look, I'm willing to give this guy a chance because primarily because I don't know anything about him really. I mean, none of us do. I did a video on him, so I know more than you guys. But Mike Johnson is good friends with Jim Jordan, and I think Jim Jordan is is a straight guy. Like, I think that he's good to go. I don't think he's a rhino at all. So if Jim Jordan's vouching for this guy, then I'm willing to give this guy a shot. And for people just to like dismiss him this quickly, I think maybe just like step back, give him a chance, give him a second. Yeah, he's not doing everything exactly as we want. Okay, God, come on.
But,
just like
anyway,
I understand. I understand you disagree. I understand you disagree. You don't have to interrupt me with nah every time I say something. We get it. I know what your position is. I know what your position is. Just wait till I'm done. Then you can present.
But thank you for bringing that. Thank you for bringing that up and letting us talk about it, because it really frustrating me. I appreciate that.
Unbearable Truth wrote, "I'm black pilled too. I mean African American pilled."
Well, since we're talking,
it's important
about,
to be politically correct.
Or are we done already?
You don't have to, but you can.
No, I'd like to. I got a couple things to say. So I appreciate.
You sure? You might be criticized for being black pilled and and all that stuff too. So
yes, of course. Yeah,
I did have a couple of things I was going to agree with you on, but since you interrupted me, I'll go past that straight to my other comments. So yeah, I mean, okay, so he might be like, I kind of think of this guy as maybe, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, like maybe he's kind of like, what's his name? What's the guy from the Untouchables? Elliot Ness. And I'm referencing the movie because I don't know the history. I just know the movie. But in that movie, he's very altruistic. He's sort of like, well, I'm going to do everything by the book and everything just right. And I'm going to save the good people from the bad people. And he fails at the start because he's so clean cut. He's trying to be nice, everybody's buddy, play by all the rules, you Mr. Nice Guy. And then he needs more of that Sean Connery character in him where he's like, you can't play by the rules all the time. You got to fight dirty because they're fighting dirty. And I feel like what this is exposing, like the voting and everything, where he's saying things like, hey, I only got one vote here, margin, so I got to play real careful. Well, no, it shouldn't be that way, because if these guys have whatever it is, 49 votes, and you've got 50 votes, then the Republicans should win every time. What this is exposing the fact that the Democrats are united and the Republicans are not, which is the big problem.
I don't know if it's so much that they're united. It's just that they are. I don't know if they're united, but they're all kind of like willing to. Yeah, they're willing to be united. They're willing to jump on board.
Mm-hmm. I mean, personally, I feel like on these votes, the Republicans should be voting along party lines every time, because that's what
there's some guy named Ben Deleted who is like really simping hard for Jason.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
It's true, but what he's saying is true. I gotta admit.
No, it is not. No, it is not. You interrupt me, I interrupt you, and
I'm gonna say what he said. Jason Ben Deleted. I think that's how you say his name. Sorry if I didn't say it right. Jason, Chris has made your point sufficiently already. No need to speak. Yes, thank you, Chris.
And then laugh emojis. This is a dumb comment. Look, I think Jason, when you started talking, do you have anything else to say about it?
I'm good. I'm good. I think people understand.
We both said our piece. We both said our piece. I interrupted you. You interrupted me. I don't understand what this guy's issue is, but whatever. Okay, if you have more to say, you're free to say it. All right. So, shall we move on to the next subject?
May as well.
Do you have anything else, Kurt?
Well, I was just going to say that maybe instead of bringing in these guys that are entrenched, they've been in there a long time, they have a lot of connections, they're insiders. Maybe get some guys that are interns, some guys that are fresh out of college that have been around enough to know their way around, but haven't glad-handed everybody in the room and doesn't have all of these friends that they could, because I think that you're seeing it in the Democrat Party. What's causing the Democrat Party problems is the true believers, the guys that are like, hey, this is what you guys say we're supposed to say we're all about. Okay, well then we want to speak up for we want to speak up for the Islamists. We want to protest at Google. We're this type of company where we're interested in all these political things. Okay, good. We're all going to speak up. We're all going to do things, right? And then the powers that be, are just like, actually, you're fired. We don't want you to speak about that. So the people that have the the young people in these organizations, they actually have the. I'm gonna put in my notes here.
I got a suggestion. How about
The
we don't
optimism
hire? How about we don't
to-
hire lobbyists and people that are within the establishment?
Right. So maybe you get some newer, younger people in there that really want to do the right thing for the right reason. Then you won't run into all these problems where people are just trying to advance themselves politically, trying to keep their friends happy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Dean Jager just chimed in. Dean Jager just chimed in, complaining that I have read some of the regular chats, but not the super chats. Typically, I try to save the super chats for the end of the show, but as we've got a very contentious audience today, I'll throw in
bunch
Dean
of main
Jager's,
characters out there today.
Yeah, what the hell, you guys? Gee, my Christmas. All right, Rick Humphrey, $5 says kablam. Love you, Rick Humphrey.
That anybody cares, so thanks, guys.
Yeah, for real. Thank you, Rick Humphrey. Hoff Power Concrete Simplified Crawfish Company. My Ninjas. I already read that one, but it's worth another read. Dean Jager comes in.
As a Japanese person, I'm offended.
Huh?
I said, as a Japanese person, I'm offended. That's our word.
Nobody understands this. Oh, My Ninjas.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
All right.
Jason got it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Dean Jager comes in. First one I've caught live. Hope you guys keep this going. Love the beard, Chris. Yes. Somebody suggested that I grow out a beard on which day? What day is it today? It's Thursday today. So on Monday, so this is 3 days. So I didn't shave for 3 days just for you guys because somebody said that they wanted to see me with a beard. So this is 3 days growth. If I give it another 3 days, I think I'll look like Jason.
Jason is the trendsetter. Soon we'll all be black pilled.
I'm gonna grow my beard out. So throughout the show,
over the course of the show,
if we make it to like more than this amount of shows, you're gonna see my beard grow.
I will probably shave after the show today.
Basically, in a roundabout way, Jason, you said if we even have another show, if we even have one more show, you'll see my beard is slightly longer.
I like this new contentious version of the show. We're fighting. The chat's yelling at me. It's fantastic.
But that's what's great. That's what's great about our side. I think like we will fight with each other, and I
love it. I love it.
Yeah, because that helps.
I think you guys
helps.
I think the chat should come at me more. I like the heat. It's good. I'll punch back, but not too hard. Hoff Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company writes, my channel is about pouring concrete, and I get the LGBTHIV plus hater too. Oh, is that guy that I just canceled from my chat? All right, let's see here. Okay, then he comes back in. Hoff Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company writes, don't read this chat. Too late. All right, well, we went through the chats a little bit earlier than normal. Okay, we can keep going here. We got one from Dame Piglet. I always love reading chats from her when she jumps in. If you don't read this, I'll cry. Wow. I think that was a jab at Dean Jager. Dean Jager comes back. $5 to not shave before the next show, Chris. I'll think about it. Probably not going to happen. But
put more in the super chat and tell them go full beard. Full beard. Come on, guys.
Should I make a price? I'm not really a beard guy. I don't feel like a little bit of stubble's good. This is about as long as I normally get, and then I'll shave off.
But you know what? Seeing your growth the way it is now, man, I wish I could grow my hair like that because see here, I hate that.
My dad actually says the same thing. He has these patches here. And he hates it, but I don't understand what the problem is. I think that looks good, actually.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. Unbearable Truth jumped in for $10, and they've written for an adult Coca-Cola after the braille. After their brawl. Oh, like a brawl, like we've been fighting. Yeah, an adult Coca-Cola. So a Coca-Cola with a little bit of scotch in it, I think is what they're saying. Listen. Hold on. We got one more here. People are just jumping in here. Taco Bell says, how many politicians do you think commit high treason on a daily basis? Oh, that's
well, since I'm black pilled, I think more than half.
Listen,
I would say 80%.
Listen, I don't know about if it's 80%, but I mean, it depends on how you define high treason. But like, okay, so there's this guy
like selling our country to China.
There's this
selling
guy
our
named
country
Bob.
to illegal immigrants. Illegal.
Jason, can I say something here?
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead.
There's this guy. His name is Senator Bob Menendez, right? And he was actually indicted for taking bribes from Egypt. And I did a video just recently about some of the waste that the government's spending that we've been doing recently. This was put out in December. Every year, what's that? Rand Paul puts out his list of grievances, the airing of grievances from the Seinfeld. What's that holiday called, Kurt?
Festivus.
His Festivus.
That's funny.
Airing of grievances.
Maybe think of like it's like Christmas or something. Once a year, make us not.
Yeah, no. He does. It's from Festivus. Is where he got it, and so he lists his airing of grievances. But his airing of grievances is government wasteful spending. Well, it turns out there's a bunch of wasteful spending that was done in Egypt. Interesting coincidence. This guy, Bob Menendez, was indicted for taking money, bribes from Egypt. Look, this guy, why is this guy being indicted? Well, he was caught, but the thing is, he didn't quit the Senate. He's still in there. He's just like, I don't care. And it's like, okay, what kind of brazen, corrupt a-hole do you have to be to when you're actually caught and indicted, you stay in office? I mean, at least with Joe Biden, he still pretends that he didn't, he's out there pretending like he didn't get caught. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any pretending once you've been actually indicted for it. Like, everybody knows that this guy's, but how many people in Congress are doing this stuff, like Taco Bell says, on a daily basis that you never hear about it, right? They're not indicted because they're protected by, what we tend to call the deep state, right? All these people in the administrative state in Washington, D.C., they know about your sins, but you know about their sins. So it's the house of cards, right? One car falls, they all fall. So everybody kind of protects everybody else and stops them from, being indicted for anything or having their dirty laundry exposed, or, skeletons in their closet got to stay in there. So everybody's protecting everybody in DC. So it's hard to say how many people, gosh, it could be something like 80%. I certainly hope it isn't,
Like what's the solution for that? Because obviously people aren't paying for that. They're not, like, there's no accountability. So what's the solution to that? I know I hear people say term limits and stuff like that, but like really, like we need to really talk about like a solution to this problem.
No. I mean, corruption in DC is, I think, the most important issue in American politics.
Yes.
If we can figure
like,
that,
what happens to Rome? What happens to every great civilization? Like, it's always a corruption that ends up destroying the nation.
Yeah.
Well, the only solution to corruption in government is a more informed and more active citizenry. Like, if the people are paying attention and they demand that the government acts the way they want them to, then that's what we have. What we have now is more, whether people are just complacent or what, but by and large, the people are kind of like, even if you're black-pilled, you're kind of in a way being kind of like, well, that's the way. It's a little bit of giving up. What does that be? What was the term for that? If you're kind of like
true,
quit paying attention.
You're right.
So
like
if
it is up to the people
that we've reached, then there'd be more
complacency.
If they're crooked, complacency. So if the public is complacent, then the government is going to be like, oh, we can do what we want.
Yes.
You know what I use in order to...
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead. No.
That's why when we spoke earlier, Chris, about like this whole thing about like things just need to get worse. Like, that's how I feel. Like, things just need to get worse for people to wake up. I think that's where the corruption will end, is when people just had enough. Like, things just get so bad where, okay.
I hope things don't have to get worse. I left you a long message about this.
Same here. I don't want things to get worse, because I do have a son and I'm planning to have another child. So it would really suck. But if it's going to make a better world for my kids, maybe that's what has to happen.
Well, I hope not.
I really don't.
I made the point that, like, every generation you see people become drug addicts. And it's like, you literally just saw the generation before you have a bunch of drug addicts with these like counterculture idiots going around doing these drugs, effing up their life. And every generation, there's a new bunch of kids going, okay, yeah, maybe heroin effed up his life, but I'll be fine. And it's like, why do you think that? And then the same thing you have now with like people about communism. Every
I
time
was just gonna
communism
say
has
that.
ever been tried everywhere in the
Yep.
world, it's always
Yep.
failed. But they're like, but we can do it this time because we're better. We're special. That's what they think. And it's like, can't you learn from watching other people's mistakes? You have to learn by effing up your own life. I don't know. So because that seems to be human nature, there seems to be a certain percentage of the population that just can never learn from education. They have to learn through experience. I've actually, okay, I don't want to bring up girlfriends, but I've known women.
Yeah. We need a girlfriend story, right?
People get mad at me for bringing up ex-girlfriends, but like I've met girls, I've dated girls who I've seen them.
We need like an intro music when he says girlfriend, and just have like some kind of intro music.
It's time for Chris's girlfriend stories. Anyway, I mean, I've known women specifically, but in particular, I've dated some girls who I've seen them potentially making mistakes that I thought were definitely avoidable. So I would tell these girls, look, you're doing this with your life. Yeah, that was the first mistake. But I go, look, you're heading this direction. You're doing this thing. You're doing this dumb thing. Like, it's obviously a bad idea because this is how it tends to turn out. And you should probably like pivot, change your life in this way or that way. It's not usually like a major change, just some little thing. And every single time, not every single time this has happened. Yeah, probably every single time they've been like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then they continue doing it. And then whatever it is, a month later, a year later, I get a phone call like, oh, you remember that thing you told me about? Yeah, you were right. Like they really can't learn from listening to somebody else's experience or just thinking it through logically. They literally have to go through the process of enduring the pain of whatever it is that they're effing up in their life in order to learn about this. Some people are just like that. And unfortunately, in terms of politics, it just F's up the world for the rest of it. Yep. The rest of us. Dean Jager jumps in with $10, says full beard. And I'm trying to help the show, not crying.
So Chris, basically what you're saying is,
well, hold on. I want to before keep that thought. I do want to say I don't know if I'm saying Dean Jager correctly. It's probably Dean Jager, right? Because he's got the Jägermeister logo. Jaeger. I don't know why I'm saying Jager. I know it's Jaeger. I guess
is that Dean Jager? Is that a reference for Ghostbusters? Hey, Dean Jager, the guy that kicks them out of the college.
It's a good question, Dean Jager. Send us another $10 and let us know. Freeze-dried ice cream prepper. Oh, that's a great way to prep freeze-dried ice cream. It says, yes. Greetings from a conservative female Idahoan. I second keeping the beard.
There you go. You know what? I think the beard is gonna have to stay.
Unbearable Truth threw us $2. Thank you, Unbearable Truth, for throwing that in here. Listen, freeze-dried ice cream prepper. Oregon is trying to secede from itself, right? They're trying to split Oregon in half and half join Idaho. I think we should do it. You know what I mean? Like Idaho, the Idaho people are like good people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. My dad is originally from Montana. He was born in Kalispell, Montana, which is like right on the Idaho border. So we have quite a bit of an affinity for Idaho in my family, but. All right, I'm sorry, Kurt. Go ahead and
doesn't Oregon have that really good like cheese and dairy company too? What are they called?
Yeah, Tillamook. We have Tillamook cheese,
yeah,
Tillamook
great
dairy,
stuff. So
Tillamook ice cream.
Yeah,
it is good.
Half,
yeah,
as long as we got the half with Tillamook that joins with Idaho.
Actually, I don't think Tillamook would be part of that.
It's about the cheese. It's about the cheese, huh?
Well, then forget it. Then. Well, if they're not going to be a part of it, then we need Idaho.
We could take all the part that wants to secede and Tillamook. Just a little island of Tillamook will be. So anyway, Tillamook's actually, I think Tillamook's actually around Astoria area, which is where they shot Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
When we used to go up to Astoria, we used to visit the cheese making factory, Tillamook.
Oh, when movies were good. Okay.
Nobody cares about Goonies, Chris. That's where they shot Kindergarten Cop.
That's true, Kindergarten Cop, and I will throw out something here that I probably shouldn't, but the female lead of that movie, and I won't say her name, I've met her in Hollywood, and she's not a raving lunatic. She's not politically. She's not a raving lunatic. I'm not going to say any more than that, but she's a good person. I like her.
she'd probably be very disappointed to hear that you don't think women should vote, Chris, because that's basically what you were saying earlier with like, every woman you've ever met can't figure out from other people's mistakes. They got to make them on their own, and that's what's destroying this country.
Oh, I didn't say every girl I've ever met. Hold on. I didn't say every girl I've ever met. I said a couple of girls that I've met.
Oh, my mistake.
I don't know how that became every girl I've ever met. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. 1, 2. Of course, women shouldn't get the vote. That's not like. Is that a controversial?
You bastards! You set me up.
What are you talking about? Doesn't everybody believe that? Women believe that. I just saw that posted. Some chick posted.
Did you see half of our audience drop out in real time just then, Chris?
Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company jumped in again just now, and he's written, "I'm with them. Grow the beard out. Don't be a toxic man. Don't be a toxic man with the rest of us." I think he means you should be a toxic man with the rest of us. I think the "don't" is a mistake. Anyway, Kurt, you had something to say before I interrupted you about Dean Yeager's name. You were saying something.
No, that was it. That was it.
Okay.
It was the women voting thing. I got it in there.
You were going to say that. You were going to say the women voting thing. Yes. All right. Sorry to interrupt. All right. We did circle back. I did remember. We did circle back, Saki. I did remember that you had something to say, but I think we're done with that segment. So let's move on to the next one. Jason, what do we get?
So this one really gets to me. This one really angers me.
Nice change of pace.
What doesn't anger me, right?
Jason's upset about something in the news. Shock and awe. Everyone, sit down. This is a big one.
So Mike Johnson. No, I'm just playing. The food is no good at all. African illegals at New York City City Council complain about free food and housing. Let me just say something. Like, if you look at the photo, I don't know can you post a photo? If you look at that photo,
give me a second. You keep talking, and I'll find it.
Like, just look at that photo. Like, do you really think these people are going to assimilate well into our country? And I'm not just. I'm not talking.
You're talking about the women with the hijab.
Yeah, I'm not talking because they're black. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. If they were black conservative Christians, yeah. But first of all, they wouldn't be doing that because they wouldn't come in this country illegally. But
well, just throw in my wife's black thing, and then you get like
I get a free pass, right? My wife's black. Yeah, my son's mixed. So and they're Latinos. So yeah.
Heavens to Betsy.
Yeah, so just looking at that image alone, it's like, I mean, come on, really, like, and then they're complaining that they let them in here and giving them money, giving them housing, giving them food, and then they have the audacity to complain, like, which they shouldn't even be here. It's crazy. It's crazy, you know.
All right, let me play this real quick.
But at the shelter, the food, my kids cannot eat the food at the shelter.
Kasuma do men sonjino moƴƴa parce que tawi kadi horu gongol arta kikiɗe tawa ñamete on ababata mo ñamude.
And on Ramadan time, we couldn't eat because when you come back for the breaks, the food is no good at all.
Ko ɓe jonata men kon kadi 2 mois a yalta o 2 mois ɗo timma yalta tawa ko ya ƴettu kadi paykoy koye fof ƴetta bagage ji ma yaha kadi winditoyoɗa ɓe naɓiran ma kadi nokkugo hara paykoy koye no jangi.
She's really going here, isn't she?
ɗum noon fof ɗum wondani men e sattede.
And they give us 2 months to stay at the shelter, and then you have to go out again with your luggages and the kids and find another place. It's very difficult.
Yeah, no. Really, you know what's crazy, you guys, is like illegally immigrating into another country isn't super easy.
It's inconvenient, especially when you got your luggages. Why do they have?
Yeah,
what's in there?
Yeah, no, I would hope it's difficult. Like, that's the whole point. I mean,
yeah.
No, you know what? It's too easy. It's why do they even get food at all? Why do they have food? Why are they getting free food?
Chris, in their defense, the food that day was donated by Arby's. So I'd be upset too, you know.
Kurt, we've had this argument before. Good God. Okay, we're getting into it today, ladies and gentlemen. Arby's is good, damn it. Who doesn't like Arby's?
I said that just for you because you like
I think, yeah, honestly, like
Chris is going to lose his mind
people.
like he's Jason talking about rhinos over here. I mentioned Arby's.
Mike Johnson at Arby's. Arby's is a rhino. I knew it. Listen.
By the way, I think Mike Johnson eats at Arby's. So.
Chris just said that.
What's weird is that I didn't know this. I think Arby's was actually created for Jews. You know, like there's all these Jewish conspiracy theories and stuff.
Why? Because it's like kosher meat
it's either exactly because it's beef or something or something. I don't remember. It was either for Jews or like for Catholics on Friday or something like that. I can't quite remember, but because like Catholics can't eat meat on Friday, so they have to eat fish. Oh, that's why the fish fillet in McDonald's exists. But I think Arby's was made for Jewish people. Like I don't remember exactly the story. I saw this on YouTube or something like that. But they have all these Jewish conspiracy theories. Arby's is a real one.
Chris, can we get through one episode without you talking about Arby's? This is not the kind of thing that our listeners would hear.
This is the Arby's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I did a video once. I did it was pretty crappy, like years ago, like a web series back when that was kind of like a thing. People were trying to do web series, and it was called Satan. And the idea was that Satan got bored with. You remember that? Satan got bored with hell and just moved to LA and started hanging out with this chick that was like super nice. And so he like felt bad being Satan. So he started like being really nice to everybody. But he was always annoyed with himself for doing this because this girl was obviously manipulating him to be nice. So he goes, and actually I sent the script to Fox and they rejected it. I had a lawyer with a connection to Fox. A friend of mine was a lawyer connected to Fox. She sent them the script. They said, no, we're not interested. And then literally like, I don't know, a few weeks later, a couple months later, they started shooting Lucifer. Yeah. And Lucifer was a comic apparently from like the 90s. And they had this property for a long time, but they never produced it until I sent them my script. And so the theory among the people that I knew in LA was that they read my script, went, oh, this is actually pretty funny. Hey, we have a script like this from a much more famous author. Let's use this, because it was almost exactly the same premise, right? And they just made their version funnier, like my script was. And then they even stole a song that I had listed on the script as like the song I was going to open the show with. Really weird.
I can say for 100% certainty that's what they did. Because that's how they work.
It's speculation, but yeah, that is kind of like what Hollywood.
You got the nihilist on your side, Chris.
I know. You're
not crazy. It's them that's crazy.
But there's a point in the show when for some reason I thought it would be really funny if Satan was just like obsessed with Arby's. So he's like, the girl will sometimes be like, I'll tell you what, if you do this, we'll go to Arby's. And he's like, Arby's? Okay, all right, I'll do it. You know, like she can like tempt it with the Arby's. And so
Arby's
I thought that was funny.
Is Satan's Scooby snack? Is that basically the idea?
Yes, exactly. It's like his
Would
favorite.
you do it for 2 beef and cheese? Okay.
I don't know why I thought that was funny. I just thought it was funny.
Really, it is.
All right, sorry. We're really going off on a tangent here. We did move up.
Chris's show was just a retelling of his life.
What? Oh, this show you mean?
Saint and X with the way he reacted with girls. So.
Oh, I just do whatever women tell me to do. Okay, yeah. I see. I love that. Funny. All right, I think we got another super chat in here. Raising Mason. Okay, I think reading the super chats during the show is actually better than reading them at the end because we seem to be getting far more. Raising Mason says, let your nuts drop. Grow the beard out, big guy.
Exactly.
I will not let my nuts drop. Thank you very much. I am perfectly happy talking like this.
Yeah, I think they just dropped. I think they went up.
Gentlemen, it's now time to get into the other segment of the show called My Nuts Have Dropped. All right, so let's actually do some real news. I don't know why we're going so crazy today. Jason, right, let's the next story.
We're done with the next story. Okay. So
if you have a super chat, ladies and gentlemen, we get demonetized every dang episode. and then I always challenge it. They monetize me like 2 or 3 days later after everybody's watched it, so we get no money for this show. So this Super Chat's the only thing that we get for money. Which, by the way, I got to send you guys some money so that you can buy your microphones, your new microphones and everything. Oh, we got a new Super Chat from Dame Piglet. Thank you very much. $12 from Dame Piglet. Dame Piglet is one of my heroes. She's always here. She's always awesome. She writes, if Biden gets reelected, what will you do? Question for the chat, too. Okay, so everybody in the chat, you can go ahead and throw your responses out there.
I'm moving out of the United States of America.
I already preemptively did that, basically.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'll just throw this out here real quick. I'm genuinely a little bit concerned that, you know how they always say Trump will go after his political enemies, Trump will go after reporters, Trump will go after anybody who criticizes him, he'll put him in prison, blah, 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 blah. Well, what we've seen as a pattern with Democrats is that they will do everything that they accuse us of doing. They will do it. If they're not doing it now, they will do it in the future.
Yes.
So, and I've talked to people who I'm quite close to in the same business that I'm in, the same sort of industry of just, you know, critically looking at the left and trying to expose corruption and all that kind of stuff. And we are all, like those of us in this kind of business who we believe we will be targeted potentially. Now, I'm pretty small, so I might get away with it, but like, you know, fly under the radar, I guess. Get away with it. Get away with exposing the truth. I might fly under the radar, but some of the bigger YouTubers I know, some of the bigger personalities in media, I've talked to them about it. And yeah, like one guy told me he's got a private plane. He knows a guy with a private jet who's willing to take him out of the country if necessary. Like we're genuinely like preparing for the worst. And the people that I've talked to are important people, and they're like, yeah, I might have to leave the country. Like I might have to figure something out, because that's the reality that we're living in, is that the Democrats, in fact, are willing to do the things that they accuse Trump of. So we have to be a little bit prepared for that. And so, yeah, I mean, a little bit of what I've done over the past year or so is trying to figure out what I'm going to do if Biden's elected again. Because if Biden is elected again, then it means, because, you know, look, Trump should win. Trump should win. If Biden wins again, the Democrats have total control over the election system.
Yes.
We do not have a democracy. We don't have a republic, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of you guys hate the term democracy, which I think is stupid, but whatever. we could fight about that next.
I hate that. I hate that term. Yes.
Okay, Jace, of course you do. Of course you do. We'll fight about that hopefully next episode. We can get into it here. I don't care. But yeah, it's a scary time. It's genuinely concerning. So that's where we're at. I mean, I don't want to be like a pessimist. You know, I like to be an optimist. I am an optimist. So I do think Trump will win. But if he doesn't, it's a really, really bad sign. That's what I think. Kurt, you want to say something?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being an optimist who is also prepared. I mean, you don't have to be reckless about it. But I live in Hawaii, so I'm on Oahu. If you don't know about Hawaii, we've got a series of islands. So the elite leftist people are building their bunkers and stuff on Maui. And
yeah, Zuckerberg started that, right?
Maybe other islands as well. I think there's several of them. Yeah, I think besides Zuckerberg, I think, well, there's Oprah's over there and stuff. So I think whatever.
Well, Zuckerberg is not on Maui. He's on another island, but yeah.
Is he? Okay. Well, at any rate, I'm in Hawaii, so I feel like whatever hits the fan, it's not going to reach over here because we've got some elites neighboring. So it's probably going to be pretty much okay, unless they take the opportunity to.
So you think that Zuckerberg will provide a kind of like a bunker?
Mm-hmm. No.
Right. You think Zuckerberg will be like a bulwark against attacks on?
Yes, potentially. But it could backfire, though, because if none of those people are on this island, then we may get the fire from the sky treatment, and they'll just cook everything on Oahu and pave over it and be like Oprah Land 2 or something. So I might be off base, but
I was gonna say you're not safe, Kurt. Actually, they're gonna get rid of all the people on the surface.
It's not working this time. Okay,
yeah.
Oh well.
Go lefty liberal to save yourself.
Yeah.
No, not worth it. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'm.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because even the basic lefty liberal is gonna suffer the consequences of another Biden 4 years. So it's like the useful idiots, you know. So even they're gonna feel the pain. So for me, I think another 4 years of Biden might just be the solution.
Sure.
The only problem with that theory, and you know, this may be what happens, but I really, really hope not. If Biden does get in again, you know, they're only going to get more and more authoritarian. That's just how the left is, you know, because leftism is inherently authoritarian. People, they just done a really good job. I just wrote this in a script. I'm going to post a video here in a couple days, but they've done a really good job in Hollywood and stuff as sort of casting the Christian conservative as the evil totalitarian that wants to enforce all these strict rules and everything and force you to be, you know, the good Christian. And if you're not, you're a bad person, or we're going to put you in prison, all this kind of stuff. That's a characterization that Hollywood has like invented. It's not true. I don't think it's ever been true in history. Have there been Christians like rulers in history that have been abused their power and stuff? Yeah, of course. Because humans are human. You're going to have that in every group, in every kind of culture, in every religion, everything. But by and large, like the Christian faith is like, what? Love your enemy?
Yep.
That's hardly like a totalitarian idea of the world. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Oh my gosh. No, not that. Anything but that.
Yeah.
You know, like the Christian.
That's why everybody attacks Christians. That's why everybody attacks Christians, because they know there's no.
Because we're too nice. We turn the other cheek.
Turn the other cheek. So that might be what ultimately leads to like the rapture and all of that. Is just like the Christians are just like, you know, once all the Christians are like lined up and shot or whatever, because it's Christians a lot to suffer in life. I mean, make no mistake about that. When you do the right thing, a lot of times you're punished for it, not rewarded, because, you know, in this life there's a lot of evil out in the world. But I feel like if Biden wins the election, you know, much like he did last time, that they're talking about Trump. If Trump gets in, there'll never be another election. Okay, so that's your plan. So we'll have elections after 4 more years of Biden, if it comes to that. But it'll be elections like they have elections in Russia. You know, it'll be like, guess what? Another Democrat won. Who could have seen it coming, guys? Yeah, because like you said, it'll only get worse, and we'll see. Hopefully Trump wins,
and he won by 99.9% of the vote.
Yeah,
I know.
It'll be interesting to see. I think we're probably, if what we predict will happen if the Democrats steal the election and Biden is in there is probably way more creative and way worse than what will actually happen, because what's happened in this country in the past 3 years is pretty bad. But I mean, here we are. We're muddling through somehow. So as long as they're making money,
I just want to. I know it's not a super chat, but Unbearable Truth said, "Imagine USA without the Bible or Christianity." We're witnessing that right now. So.
Look, the point I was going to make about the left being really the totalitarians is that if the left gets power again, if Biden gets power again, they will become more authoritarian than they are now. I think it'll ramp up significantly.
You think so?
And if that happens, and if that happens, you will have I think that you will reach a critical mass of people in the population that are going to say, absolutely effing not, right? Maybe a critical mass in the military, and then something bad will happen. And I'm not exactly sure what that bad thing will be, but it will obviously be a bad thing in the name of trying to create something good out of it. You know what I mean? Like when Jason's talking about it has to get worse before it gets better, this could be much, much worse. You know what I mean? Like this could be,
that's
one of the.
That's what we were talking about earlier too. It was like the like I was saying, throughout history, for some reason, people, it's like they repeat themselves, and then it gets to a boiling point where it explodes, and people just go crazy, and millions of people end up dying and paying for it, you know, and it's just it's a repetitive thing that goes on. It's crazy to me. It's just crazy.
It's frustrating to me because I have always lived in this way where I thought, okay, try to look at how other people live their lives, see what works and what doesn't, and try to avoid the things that don't work, and do the things that work. You know, you don't have to. I've never believed that you have to make your own mistakes in life. I always thought you can maybe avoid certain mistakes by looking at other people. You know, you don't have to be a homeless heroin addict to know that that's a bad thing to be. You know what I mean? So like, oh, you know what? That time that I became a homeless heroin addict, I realized that was actually probably not a good idea. Yeah, you don't need to go through that to figure out that that's bad. So I'm still optimistic. I'm still hoping that maybe actually we can get out of this without the worst. Taco Bell jumped in here again. Why do you name yourself Taco Bell? I got to call you Taco Bell every time I jump in here. I actually think Biden is good for America. It has to get worse to wake people up. Okay, so Taco Bell and Jason, you guys, yeah, you guys have exactly the same view. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, I can't talk on that, Jason. I think you've said everything there is to say.
Because you know, if Trump, let's say Trump wins again, unless they change the Constitution and bring back like he can run again for president as many times.
Oh, you mean once Trump's done, we're in trouble? Yeah.
So once Trump is done, once the 4 years old, it's probably going to go back to the normal stuff again. And, you know, they'll blame everything on Biden. He wasn't suitable. He was out of his mind. They'll put all the fault on him, and they'll say it wasn't the Democrats. It was this crazy loony old man. You know, and then it'll just go back to the same. So I think, I'm with Taco Bell there. If he wins, maybe I don't see it as a negative. I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a negative because it's bad for the country, but maybe that's just what has to happen.
Maybe I'll run in 4 years. Maybe after Trump's done, I'll jump in there. Because you know what? Because here's the thing. Here's what I think a good
Chris, I'm going to interrupt you. You have to get married, have children, and
I'll do that stuff too. But listen.
You got 4 years. You have 4 years.
Here's the funny thing about Trump. I made a movie in college. You'll remember this. I believe I called it The Candidate, which is actually the name of a feature film from the 60s, but ignore that. I made a short film called The Candidate. And what was interesting about this character, The Candidate, was he would say things that other people weren't willing to say. Like he'd even say something like, I don't really know anything about that subject. I'll have to look it up and get back to you. And the reason that I put that line in specifically, and I put in this character who was willing to say the crap that nobody else was willing to say, is because I believed for a very long time, this was in what, like 2002, 2003, something like that. I believed for a very long time that if a politician was willing to tell the truth, no matter how ugly the truth might be, but with a little bit of charm, with a little bit of humor, casually, honestly, authentically, that they would be elected. And I actually never thought that I would see a candidate like this. This is, in my mind, like a fictional candidate that would never exist. And then Trump came along. And I was like, holy crap, Trump is the embodiment of this character that I created in college. Like Trump's the guy in real life. So look, in my case, here's the one thing there's one place that Trump won't go. There's a few places Trump won't go, but one place in particular, like he won't talk about black people in like a real way. You know, like to me, saying things like, look, yeah, black people commit more crime than white people. Like that's a real thing, you know, like to be able to actually express that openly and say, like, I'm not saying black people are terrible people. Lots of black people are awesome. But if you look at like the statistics, yeah, I mean, there's more crime that's committed by black people than any other group, like by a ton. And we need to fix that. You know what I mean? And like, because here's the thing. I think that if a candidate said something like that and they said, all right, black people who exist in the world who listen to this, please respond to me. I know some of you are going to criticize what I'm saying. You're going to say I'm a racist and all that crap. But you know that this is true. And you don't want your neighborhoods to be overrun by thugs and gangbangers and just like annoying, horrible criminals. You want your neighborhoods to be safe and nice too. And that's what I want for you. So let's not just BS each other and be like, oh, no, the black neighborhoods are perfectly safe and nice. And black people are just oppressed. And that's the reason there's crime. Come on. No, a black criminal is a criminal. Okay. I don't care what like happened to his ancestors. He's a dickhead who's ruining your neighborhood. A lot of black people will listen to that and go, damn, that guy is willing to tell the truth. And black people are stupid. You know, there's this idea, I think, on the left and even just generally in politics that black people are like stupid and you kind of have to like treat them a certain way delicately and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not stupid. They're you know, it's like, oh, they can't get ID to vote. Yeah, they can get ID. They're human beings, for crying out loud. The left does not treat black people as human beings. It drives me crazy. It's like, just talk to them like human beings, address the real problems that they really have, and move on from there. I think that'll be a hugely winning strategy. Maybe
what
not.
do they call
Maybe
it? The quiet bigotry of low.
Yeah, I think they are realizing that. I think black Americans are realizing that. That's why the Democrats are letting in the third world in here because they need a new voter base.
Right.
So,
right. Because the black people are shifting a little bit. It's true. I'm making a video about that too.
Especially black men.
Yeah, black men in particular. Hoff Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company, another $5. Thank you so much. Very generous today, Hoff Power. Right. A lot of us old vets are still armed and still in shape and ready. Don't tread on me. No comment. No comment. That we're just going to hide that. Thank you, Hoff Power. Appreciate it. I'm not going to say I agree. I'm not going to say I disagree. We're just going to Jason, shut up. Shut up, Jason. Shut up.
Oh, yeah. I got to.
All right, moving on. Listen,
next subject.
Hoff Power, we love you, man. We love you. That's what I want to say about that. We need more people like Hoff Power. All right. Let's move on to the next story. Let's do some actual news here.
So Biden says inflation is being stubborn. Things like junk fees are what really impact people.
Oh, yeah. Did you have anything to say about this, Kurt? I mean, I can jump in here, but
go ahead. You jump in.
Yeah, this is pretty funny, actually. So Biden comes in here. He's challenged on the inflation thing, and he goes, well, we lowered inflation. I think I got, you know what, I can play it. Kurt, Jason, why don't you talk about it a little bit where I'll look for this?
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous. Like, they're trying to blame everything but what's obvious. The other thing about that is, like, yeah, in some ways it is true because they tax the hell out of us. Like, for every little freaking thing, it's a tax. So those little things are making Americans suffer. Which Trump actually helped us with all that stuff. He actually helped relieve us with all these tax burdens and stuff. But yeah, so in a way, it's kind of true. In a way, I mean, besides the $10 freaking eggs and $5 gas in some states, it's like $8. I mean, come on.
It's basically what Biden is doing is he's blaming a symptom of the disease. It's like okay, you've got skin cancer and you're dying, and it's like what's the real problem? It's just like my neck's a little itchy. It's just like that's what we should be worrying about. It's just like this. Just rub some lotion on it, it'll be fine. And it's like these. Okay, here's an example of what he's talking about. It's like in restaurants, they'll start adding things in. They're raising the minimum wage. They're raising all this stuff, right? So they start putting on your bill like, okay, this is a kitchen fee service charge, and there's this, that, the other. Because what they don't want is for people to stop coming to their restaurant and coming to the restaurant, get sticker shock and walk out. They want people to order food from this. So they are doing things like hiding these fees. Like, what is this like extra charge for the kitchen? I mean, they work for you. Yeah, we know when we come in, they make the food. There shouldn't be besides what the price that's on the menu, there's also this fee and that fee. But the reason they're doing that is because they're in states like California, where their taxes and the burden on them keeps getting raised all the time, more and more. And they I don't think
junk fees are like from restaurants. I think what he's talking about are like bank fees and stuff like that. Which,
yeah,
I mean, these are legitimate things.
Yeah, I just was saying like hidden fees, basically.
Right. Well, it's just he's dismissing the biggest problem that we have, which is inflation actually is hugely important. He's saying that inflation hasn't come down to where he wants it to come down, so that people, don't recognize the progress they've made. But like, no, if we want real progress,
he's lowered inflation. He's like one of the greatest presidents because he's lowered inflation.
Listen.
Yeah. Next time I go to the supermarket, tell me that.
Listen, they need to reverse inflation. It's not enough to lower it.
Yeah.
Because inflation isn't something like when you say this is the level of inflation right now, that still means that the dollar is reducing in value. currently.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
so
the thing.
What you want is to reverse inflation. We need inflation to be negative.
Yes.
Because that'll strengthen the dollar. This guy's saying, oh, it's the dollar's losing value at a slower rate than it was a year ago. Therefore, I've made progress. What the hell are you talking about? All right, so
but do you notice every time inflation kicks in, like inflation goes up throughout the years, throughout the decades, it never goes down. Like things never go back to the way they were.
It does a little. It does sometimes, but hold on. Let's watch it. Let's watch
whenever a Republican's in there.
Life is too expensive.
Exactly.
Concerned that stubborn inflation will hurt your reelection bid.
We brought down inflation by over 2/3, and it is being stubborn and not going down to the 2% we need, but it's significantly different. Number one. Number two, the thing that really affects people's lives are all the small things that add up to big numbers for people. All these junk fees.
Yeah,
he needs Trump needs to give him the magic wand that Trump had to fix all those problems.
Right. Yeah, there's this
their goal is 2%. They're not even thinking that. They're not even looking at potentially like reversing inflation. Their goal is 2% inflation. So it's like, inflation,
keep inflation low. Yeah.
It's like
it's a disaster.
But,
I mean, the whole thing is a disaster,
fellas.
You know what pisses me off even more? Like if you go to the end of the article, I just can't stand this way of thinking. Like you'll read the last paragraph. It says, elsewhere in the interview, Biden said that raising taxes on the wealthy would raise a lot of revenue. Controlling corporate profits will lower the price of things like eggs, and small things make a big impact on ordinary people. And that's what has to be worked on. But I mean, you raise taxes on corporations or the rich. What are they going to do? They're the ones that own everything. They're the ones that put out the products. Like, I mean,
No. What he's saying is you regulate the corporate. You don't understand, Jason. We're not talking about raising the rates. Just raising the rates on rich people.
The means of production.
Exactly. They're talking about
raising taxes on the wealthy,
federalizing these businesses.
Yeah, but he said raising taxes on
the first thing. That's the first thing. But the rest of it's even worse because the rest of it is, actually, we're going to tell the businesses how much money they can make. The next step after that is federalizing them. Like they just want a communist country. They're just pushing toward communism, which is crazy because Joe Biden, when he was a senator, he was a leftist. Yeah, he was corrupt for sure. But he was, at least he was like working within the realm of, what the constitutional republic needs to be, the democracy. I know everybody hates that term. It is a representative democracy. That's what we say. Okay, that's what we say. We can say representative democracy.
We are a republic.
We're a republic, but that is a kind of representative democracy. There's no reason why we can't say democracy. I don't understand, because it sounds like Democrat. We're not allowed to say it. It's such a dumb. I don't understand why people get their like panties in a bunch about this. Like we've been using the term democracy since like 200 years or something, and people like but the founding fathers didn't want it to be a direct democracy. They didn't want to be a direct democracy. Therefore, we can't use the word democracy.
If enough conservatives say we love democracy enough, then the Democrats will change the term, and then we'll have it for ourselves.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's pretty funny. They keep talking about democracy. Let's stop saying that. Well, the Trump effect.
They would.
We'll own it. We'll take it over.
I don't know why. I don't know how this became popular. That Republicans have been like, we're not allowed to say democracy because we're not a direct democracy.
If we're a democracy, you would have to go with the vote, like the majority vote thing.
No, Jason, are you not listening to what I'm saying? Direct democracy versus representative democracy, right? Two different things.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So we just shorten it. We say democracy. We've been Reagan used to talk like this. Everybody,
socialism, totally different from regular socialism.
Kurt, that's not funny. People aren't going to get that you're making a joke. All right. So, do we have another story to jump in on here? Okay.
Young Democratic voter admits she regrets voting for Biden.
Yeah. Frankly, you play this video? I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I love this. I love this story actually but the funny thing is, it's not exactly what you would think, right? Mm-hmm. Because you would think that this girl would be like, oh God, I got to find this story. Give me 1 second. It's not what you think, because you'd think that like, oh, she'd be like, oh, inflation is terrible. Oh, Biden's immigration thing is terrible. You know what I mean? Like you'd think that she'd
That's what a rational person would expect her to say, but of course that's not what
exactly. But that's not what's going on here, because the left is crazy. I mean, this is worse than
because that's probably not
this.
None of that's probably affecting her.
No, she's a grad student.
Right.
She's never lived in the real world. She's been sheltered her whole life.
Jason in particular, or somebody, maybe it was Kurt, wanted me to show the picture of this woman.
It was
So there you go.
That's the young voter. That's the grad student, the young voter.
She's the young voter who looks like she's 84.
There she is. Yeah, she looks like she's Biden's wife.
let me play this. If it will play. Processing.
What do you make of the protest vote and how that could impact November?
Well, Biden certainly does not have the support of young people the way Obama did. I think the Vietnam War is the closest analogy. That was also the period when we had the biggest generation gap between the parties.
While pro-Palestinian demonstrations are far more than a campus movement, Biden's advisors are studying young voters carefully.
The one thing that's surprising me is the degree to which he's disregarding public opinion.
Anna Sorial is a graduate architecture student at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. She regrets her vote for Biden 4 years ago.
That was the first time I could vote in a presidential election. Frankly, I look back, I'm embarrassed.
She kind of reminds me. What happened? Hold on. I don't know why there's still music. Give me a second.
I don't hear it.
There we go. There might just be music from me. It's funny. I think my mother looks younger than her. My mother's like in her mid 60s.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help that she's dressed like a librarian on an Indian organization in 1967. I mean, that ages her a little bit. She's got like the 50s haircut. She looks like she's going to a costume party. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's right. All right, we have a new policy on the show. Every time a super chat pops in, I read it immediately to encourage you to continue to send us money. So this is from Stephen Thompson. He writes, "Oh, Stephen Thompson. I have a cousin named Stephen Thompson, actually, which is kind of funny. But we have no P. My Thompson, my Scottish part of my family, we don't have a P." He writes, "It's because the Democrats want to break the rule of law so they can rule by manipulating the people and letting them rule." Okay, there's 3 words. The word rule was used 3 times, so it's a little confusing. It's because the Democrats want to break the rule of law so they can rule by manipulating the people and let them rule. I don't understand this sentence. Does anybody else?
Look,
Kurt
just
disappeared.
quickly left.
Kurt's like, I'm done with this.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Can you put up the post again?
Yeah, put that up. Boom. This is good television, guys. Trying to work out what this. Sorry, Steven. None of us can figure out what you mean.
Hopefully, he can elaborate on that.
Yeah, but look, I mean, they do want to break the rule of law. They do want to manipulate the people. I don't know what the letting them rule thing means, but look, the Democrats have this weird situation on their hands. Sorry, Kurt, you were going to say something, but I'm going to jump in here real quick. The Democrats have this weird situation on their hands where they have indoctrinated college students to essentially hate Israel and love Palestine. But now the Democrats are aligned with Israel and against, Hamas in Palestine. And war is a nasty, dirty business, and you're going to have people dying on both sides, civilians. Israel has protected itself pretty damn well so that Hamas is going to have a lot of trouble killing civilians in this particular conflict. It's like, don't start a fight you can't finish. Isn't that like a saying, something like that? Hamas really jumped in and poked the bee's nest, right? Like, why should you not poke a bee's nest? Because you're not going to be able to beat up the bees. They're going to kill you. You know what I mean?
And it's
unless
sad,
you got like,
they're being used. Really, they're actually being used by like Iran and all that.
Like Iran, yeah, of course, yeah.
So yeah,
I will say though that even like people are like, oh, but the women and children. You're right. There's some women and children who are innocent, good people, of course, in Palestine. But a lot of them are also indoctrinated to hate the Israelis and to want that whole nation to die. They just think they're evil and horrible and all this kind of thing. It's a nasty situation. War is hell, and we're just dealing with war as hell.
Yeah, the West cannot get into any more wars because we just don't have the stomach for it anymore. And in a way, I agree with that. Like
that's true.
Because war, if you're going to go to war, you have to win it, and you have to be brutal. It's carpet bomb. It's killing millions of people. It's killing innocent lives. You know.
I don't know about millions. Okay, come on, hold on there.
Well, I'm saying if it's something like
specifically 6 million. When you get into a war, what you want is to kill 6 million people. Exactly.
It's something like let's say Japan and Hiroshima and all that stuff, and Germany. Like
you've got to be willing to kill.
If you want to defeat your enemy, you have to bring them to their knees. You know, you have to make them not want to ever.
Nice thing.
You have to not ever want them to like fight another war again. And
exactly,
we don't have the stomach to do that. And I agree with that. Like, what's the point? Like, why get into these wars and why kill people? Yeah. You know, let's just focus on ourselves and make a great nation here. You know, and let them fight it. Let them fight. Let them do whatever they have to do for their country.
Talk about learning from mistakes, Chris. You were saying earlier. How about learning from history? I mean, we already had Vietnam. Yeah. We already had, since Vietnam, we've had the Iraq War. We've been in the Middle East and stuff. Just like, okay, guys, we're really going to open this can of worms up again. We're going to do this. And I think
look, the mistake isn't really about whether or not we support Israel or we are okay. Bye, Kurt. Kurt didn't like me interrupting him there. Hold on, let me throw him back in here.
I don't know why.
So I don't know. You got a weird thing going on. It's not really about whether we support the war, or whether we're neutral, whether we support Palestine. That it's kind of irrelevant. The question about what's going on here with the Democrats is their own propaganda coming back to bite them in the ass.
Absolutely.
Like they've done this indoctrination thing in the universities, and they don't realize that. So what the Democrats like to do is they like to take a patchwork quilt of special interest groups and say, we love you. We'll send you money. We love you. We're going to make laws just for you. We love you. We're going to support you by raising awareness, whatever it is, right? And they go, elect me as your representative, and I'll make sure your life is better because you're a black gay woman. Or I'll make sure your life is better because you're a Palestinian immigrant. Or I'll make your life better because you think you're a woman, but you're actually a man. We're going to make your life better. And then they go, oh, wait, why does the black guys hate the gay guys? And I don't know, why do the Muslim guys hate you know what I mean? Like, they're like, wait, all these groups that they're patchwork quilting, we love you all and we accept everybody. They don't always get along. You know what I mean? Like this patchwork quilt, like peace and love.
I love the fact that the group that they brought in is actually going against them now. Like the Democrats thought they had the Muslims 100%, but they don't go by their politics. They go by their religion. They go by Islam. And the minute you go against it, their loyalty is there. It's not with a country. It's with their religions, with their belief. And
exactly, that's 100% true. Yeah, it's a dangerous thing to bring in a group of people who are that committed to something other than your nation, your society, your civilization. They've got their own kind of thing going. It's kind of a delicate thing to bring those people in. I mean, I know Muslims personally, like friends of mine, people who I really like. I think Kurt, you probably met Imran, and
actually, I don't think I ever have, but I feel like I know.
Oh, really? You never met Imran? Good friend of mine.
We've met each other.
I used to live with this Muslim guy. He had a big house. He rented a room to me. Great guy. Love that guy. I think I still owe him some money. I used to know this Iranian girl back in London, like the sweetest girl ever. Such a nice girl. Yasmin was her name. Great girl. I've known lots of different Muslims.
A girlfriend?
No. This was No. She was just a friend. She was part of our group, part of our friend. She happened to live in the same like dorm area we did. But really sweet girl, really nice girl. And although I did date one girl from Iran, half Iranian, half Irish, which is a weird combination, but
that's
fantastic.
wild.
Yeah, fantastic girl. I mean, really, that girl was a knockout. Anyway, but yeah, I shouldn't. Why am I bringing that up again? Look what you make me do, Jason.
Here we go. Here we go.
But anyway, good people. A lot of these Muslims better. I would say that they're better people than a lot of Christians I know. Like, really like the, reasonable, nice, obviously not like the Taliban Muslims, but like, relatively like nice, normal, ordinary, everyday Muslim people that I've met all over the world. Phenomenally kind, good people. So like, I don't have any problem with Muslims, but I do have a problem with immigrating people in from regions of the world where they do not conform to your values at all. In fact, they hate your values and they hate you. You should never bring somebody in your country that hates your country. That's the dumbest thing I could imagine ever doing, and yet Democrats want to do that all the time.
The other day, weren't they chanting like "Death to America"? These people here in the United States, they're actually chanting "Death to America." So I mean,
and the Democrats,
like I said, these people aren't the best people to bring to assimilate into our country.
Yeah.
And the Democrats have an impossible job too, because they got to keep all of these plates spinning. They got to keep all these lies alive. Like, oh, black people don't commit crimes. No, Muslim people don't hate anybody. Just like all this nonsense that they got to keep pushing.
The Jews don't rule the world. No, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was a joke. YouTube, do not demonetize
it. They want to push these like absolutist sort of notions that can never be true, because there's just no absolute sort of like truth like that. Like, white people are all racist, men are all like misogynists, all this kind of stuff. It's all the simplest nonsense of a drivel for the masses. Like, oh, these people that believe us, like, well, obviously we're lying jerks. So all these people, they're morons. So we'll just like come up with some crap and be like, here's some more crap, enjoy. There's just slopping the hogs with this nonsense. So anyone with any intelligence or integrity just goes like, at some point, see something just like that just doesn't make any sense.
It's interesting. Like, have you guys ever studied magic at all? Like doing magic tricks?
A little.
So there's a few magic tricks that I know, and they're really good magic tricks. They're like world class, like magic tricks that magicians use in stage magic. I saw a magic trick once. And I thought, I wonder how that's done. I looked it up and I found it. I actually found out how to do it, and I've done it for people, and they're like, "How the hell did you do that?" Like, it is really amazing, some of these tricks. But the weird thing is, when you know how it's done,
Chris, disappearing on your dates.
The check came and he was gone.
Poof. No, come on, Kurt. Come on. All right, that's a little too far. All right. Okay. So anyway, I take umbrage at that. All other manner of douchebaggery is fine, but come on. Check it out early on the bill. That's not cool.
Pure fiction.
But the point I'm trying to make is, if you know how a trick is done and you do it for people and they're amazed, it's a bit of fun. But there's almost like a temptation to think that the people are stupid that you're doing the trick for, right? Because you forget that when you first saw the trick, you didn't know how it was done either, and you were also amazed. And so I think the problem is like, and this is also true of liars. I think this is why some people like to lie, is because if you lie to somebody convincingly, it's very easy to feel that you're superior to them, because you've done something that something they don't, which is that you've lied to them. And so now you have this. I think actually this is what do they call it when people are like addicted to lying?
Pathological?
Yes, thank you. Pathological liars. Like, I knew some kids in school that were like pathological liars, and we all knew they were lying about stuff, but it was really weird to talk to them because they would just make up the weirdest stuff. And you'd be like, nobody will believe this is true. Like, why would you say this? It's like such a crazy thing. But it was kind of an interesting thing to talk to these people. But I think that may be part of it. I'm just kind of riffing off the top of my head right now. So if there's any psychologists in the chat, go ahead and tell me that I'm being stupid. But I think maybe it has to do with having like some superiority over somebody, having control over them. Like you're telling them things, they believe it. Now you're in a position that's superior to them because you know something they don't, which is that you've lied to them. You've told them all this nonsense. You know it's not true, but they don't. So you have this power over them that they believe all this crap that you know isn't true. So you're in a superior position. I think that Democrats lie so much to their base that, like you said, Kurt, they just think that that people who vote Democrat are stupid because they know that they're lying to them. And in a way, it's kind of true, but I wouldn't say stupid. I'd say gullible. And gullible doesn't mean stupid. There's some very, very high IQ people that vote Democrat. And it is kind of amazing, though. You'll talk to this like doctor, and they'll be talking about how dumb Trump is and how great Democrats are and Democrat policies. And you just sit there and you look at them and you think, how is this possible?
I think that comes down. I think that comes down to tribalism, though. It's like they've been Democrats since they were in college, so they just carried on this belief almost like a religion from when they were maybe even children, maybe not even in high school and college yet. So they're just. I literally had
the same conversation with Jason yesterday, exactly what you said, and I made the point that people associate their own value with their political views. Like, I'm not a gullible idiot. I know the truth. And they think, and a lot of people think that if they ever, and actually Jason wanted to talk about this on the show. So
why would you have that conversation with Jason?
What do you mean?
You guys never disagree about your political views. Anyway, go on. I was mocking Jason. I was saying that he's like a slave to his beliefs, but of course I'm all good fun.
No, Kirk. No. That's why we weren't talking with you, because that's the reason.
Because you knew you could fool each other, but not me.
Anyway, the point I made was a lot of these people, because they tie their value to their political beliefs, that they're not gullible people. I think if they ever even open their mind to the possibility that actually they're wrong about a lot of this stuff, they will have to acknowledge that they were gullible. And that is so detrimental to their own sense of self-confidence that they literally cannot allow themselves to even consider the possibility that they were ever wrong. They have to basically fight to the death.
Even with the world crashing down on them, it's incredible.
Well, Jason made the point that like it's weird that people who don't have skin in the game, that aren't the corrupt officials
strange.
that are
like you're not in
that are benefiting from fighting
regular
against
voters,
Trump. Because they don't just like dislike Trump, they hate Trump. Like they hate Trump as much as the deep state. And it doesn't make any sense because they're not benefiting from keeping Trump out of office like the actual politicians are, until you figure out, oh, actually these people are psychologically benefiting because if Trump's evil, then they've been right all along. Those damn racist Republicans.
They can virtue signal, and all their friends think Trump is evil, so they think Trump is evil. It's like it's just because they're in this culture where everyone I know thinks like me, so I must be right.
All right, we're going over time a little bit, but we started a little bit late, so we'll continue the show. Jason, do we have any more stories?
This flew by.
We do. I have.
I know this is a good episode. I think I should make us fight every episode.
Before we move on, so this woman, the young Democrat voter, I really like that she said this. She admits, like, what did she say? Frankly, I'm embarrassed. She's embarrassed she voted for Biden. So if nothing else good comes out of this Biden presidency, at least we know that Zoomers can feel shame, which I think is great because a lot of times we don't think of them as human, but they are really just like us. Anyway, go on.
only if you are pro-Israel and against Hamas.
It's like when Neil Patrick Harris poked the big bug, and it was like he's afraid. It's like that. Zoomers can feel shame. They can do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, do send your super chats if you want us to respond because these guys are broke and they need better microphones. So please send as much money as you can. I just like this shirt. Because we're making no money on this show and it's painful. We're not getting any views. We're not getting. Obviously, this is a terrible show. I don't even know why you guys are watching, but we still need money. All right, so Jason, let's get the next story out here.
Okay, so flailing woke Marvel lays off staff says it will reduce output. So
Marvel,
basically,
like the Marvel Cinematic Universe one.
So basically, they're
Disney.
firing like a bunch of people. I think it's like 13 people or something like that, because they're not going to make as much content as they usually do. And you know, they always have their excuse, but don't go with the obvious thing. Like your woke stuff is not working.
Specifically,
Stop it.
staffers. They're laying off 15
Yes.
staffers. So people that
Yes.
hire people, they are in so little need of people to work for them. They're getting rid of the people that bring people into their company. It's like, no, don't hire anybody for the love of God.
Yeah,
So they're doing
All
great.
HR has been fired.
it's hilarious. It's like they don't see the, like, I know they probably do see it, but it's the obvious reason why they're going broke. It's so obvious, and it's just funny that they refuse to acknowledge it.
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, DEI is ruining Marvel movies. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. This idea that every character has to be a strong female or a lesbian or something like that. You know, like you just got
to put like these subject matters that. Why are you going to have a subject matter like that in a Captain America movie or something, or a Hulk movie? Why? It's a comic book. It's superheroes. We want to enjoy a movie. You know, I mean, like, until they get that, well, they probably do. But like I said, it's just obvious. It's obvious.
Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company writes, for Jason's latency issue.
Yeah,
thank you so much for that. We'll try to repair that damage. Yeah, look, I mean, the thing is, I almost don't like talking about this because I feel like
hold on. We need money because I don't have strong internet service here because I can't afford it.
Is that true?
It's not. I mean,
we're too broke to afford the internet here at Mr. Reagan and Toxic Masculinity. Please send your support.
Does this have anything to do with your wife being black? Is that why you can't use the internet? Is that what's going on?
Probably. Hey, you bring a good point.
Honey, are you on in the other room? I'm trying to podcast.
Listen. I almost feel like it's like a broken record. Like I'm a broken record. I talk like anytime we talk about movies, it's the same damn thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the same damn thing. They get, and again, it's not about like. It's funny actually. I mentioned this to a guy here. I was playing tennis with this guy. It was me and my friend Floor from the Netherlands, and this guy that she brought in from Australia, and some other chick. Anyway, she came along. So we're playing tennis, and Dame Piglet. Dame Piglet, such a lovely lady. She says $12 for some little part of a microphone.
Thank you.
We'll get that to Kurt immediately. Listen. I'm playing this guy tennis, and he has all these like movie like paraphernalia tattoos on his arm, like from different movies. And it's great because I could point to the different tattoos and I could say what movie it was because you know I'm a movie buff. I love movies. There's a couple I couldn't get. Like I didn't get these lips. There was these lips, and I'm like, I don't know what movie that is.
Rocky Horror Picture
It almost
Show?
looks like a Rolling Stone. Yeah, it was. You got it. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so then I go, oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were a homosexual. Like this is what I said, which is probably not the most politically correct thing to say to
anyone that's a bigger movie fan than Chris has to die.
No, Kurt answered that pretty fast. Kurt answered that pretty fast.
And Kurt did answer that pretty fast.
Yeah.
Does that make you too uncomfortable that I'm that comfortable with my film knowledge?
Is it film knowledge? Is it?
So I'm pointing out these tattoos, and like there's like some really obvious ones like Back to the Future and stuff like that. So I'm pointing to these ones. I'm listing them off. I didn't get Rocky Horror. Okay, fine, whatever. But so I make this joke to the guy, and then I tell him that I do this review show on Rumble or Salem News Radio, if you listen to that, on Sebastian Gorka's show. And he has a segment every Friday called Make Movies Great Again, where we talk about 80s movies. And even earlier than that, we're doing Thin Man this Friday. And great movie. And we're talking about these movies, about how much better they used to be. So I tell this guy I do that show, and he's like, oh, that's a cool idea. And he says, I think the reason that movies today aren't as good as they used to be is because we no longer have the studio system. And I'm like, that's a weird reason to think. Yeah, it was. If you know anything about Hollywood, if you know anything about the studio system, that's a really dumb take. Okay, so it's just it's a dumb take. I didn't want to say to the guy that's dumb.
I mean, if you would look into Hollywood history in the 70s and early 80s, I would say, but in the 70s there was like no studio, like all these independent films were being made.
That's
and the movies,
when things really changed.
Yeah, and movies were actually becoming great during that. It started to become great because of that, because they allowed the directors to direct their movie. It wasn't studio interference. Now it's just 100% studio. Like they'll change everything just if one person says, "Oh, that was weird," in one of those things.
Well, that's what that's the point that I made to the guy. Just real quick, Lee Johnston jumped in with $5. Don't worry about your bandwidth. You have plenty for crowd. Well, thank you so much, Lee Johnston, for the $5 and the comment. That's exactly what I said to him. I said, look, I think that the studio is interfering too much at this point, because I said the obvious problem. I tell this guy, the obvious problem is this DEI, right? And the guy kind of scoffs at me and he says, explain what you mean. So I go, okay, it's pretty simple. Like, if you want to promote women or promote black people, promote gay people, and you say this straight white guy is not allowed to make this movie, he's not allowed to direct it, or we're not going to buy a script or whatever it might be, or you're not allowed to star in it because he's a straight white guy. Well, that straight white guy might be the best person for this movie. Either he's the best writer, or the best director, or the best actor, whatever it is. To exclude him is a terrible idea. But then let's say you go to the second best person, and it's also a straight white guy. And then you go to the third best, also, and you go to 100 people, and all these people are straight white guys. And finally you find like a black lesbian, like 372 down the line. That's the 372 best person for the job. Probably not even there. Probably like 10,000th the best, but whatever. But she's the best black lesbian that you can find. And you go, we're going to rewrite this character for a black lesbian, and we're going to put the black lesbian in. Well, you've just dismissed a whole lot of talent because you want the black lesbian.
How does it go? Put a chick in it and make it gay.
Put a chick in it and
make it lame.
Lame, gay. Lame and gay. Yeah. And that's what they do now, right? And so I'm like, you are dismissing.
Chris, I thought you were describing the election process in Chicago. Are we still talking about movies?
Well, it works for both. It's applicable to both.
Okay.
But so then this guy says, and I'm not even joking. This is what this guy says. He turns to me and he goes, sorry, I got a message on Tinder. Okay. So this guy turns to me.
Okay.
Not a joke. That's real. So then this guy turns to me and he goes, oh, so what you're saying is, if a black person's in it, it automatically makes it bad. That was this guy's interpretation of what I said. And I said, so I had to kind of like explain it again slowly.
Deep inside, that's what he's thinking.
Well, not deep inside, out loud, actually.
Yeah.
Openly, he just says it. And so I try to explain to him again what I mean. I'm like, no. It's not about the black person makes it bad. I'm saying these straight white men potentially could have made it better, possibly. Mm-hmm. Look, you could have a movie where the black lesbian actress or the black lesbian writer or the black lesbian director or whatever is actually the best person for the job. I could imagine that scenario exists. Okay. But
yeah,
if that's the reason.
I hate to cut you off, but how about this? Stop taking.
Well, don't cut me off. Actually, just wait till I'm done.
Okay.
That's a
go ahead.
That's a good strategy. It's just it'll literally be 5 seconds. All right. If the reason you're hiring the director is because they're a black lesbian, then you're actually not hiring that person because they're the best person for the job. You're hiring them because they're a black lesbian. I mean, it's an obvious point, but like the fact that the lefty Aussie guy can't wrap his head around that, it says everything you need to know about the indoctrination that the left has on this world. Anyway, go on, Chiz.
Well, how about they just, if they're really so supportive of that, why don't they just make movies, new characters, new movies based on characters like that? And how about you just like, if you're gonna make Star Wars, keep it for us. It was made for men. It was made for young boys, and just make it for us. Like, why do they got to take everything away from us, like from guys?
Well, I mentioned this on the show.
It'll be 5 seconds, Chris. It'll be 5 seconds. Let me just go ahead.
I lived in Toronto. I lived in New York City. I lived in LA. And I mentioned this in a previous episode. In Toronto, the gay area of Toronto is called Church Street. in the area where I was staying in New York for a little while, it was like a gay area, like Tribeca area. And there was this nightclub that was previously had been a church that they turned into a gay nightclub. In LA, the biggest gay nightclub is called The Abbey. Okay. Well, why do they do you ever see, like, I mean, and you always see gay people in Halloween in West Hollywood. They have this big celebration every Halloween, and you always get gay men dressed up like nuns and stuff like that. You know, it's like the most disgusting thing. Like these people, they don't just want to live their lives like normal people, like they pretend, right? The left wants to destroy everything wholesome. They want to destroy everything good. They want to destroy everything Christian. They want to destroy everything traditional. They don't just want to promote their own ideas and progress to a better world. They want to destroy everything you love. They hate you. They hate us.
And the thing about it, though, is like I'm all for them making their own stuff. Like if they want to make movies, TV shows, all about that stuff, go for it. But the thing is, they know that would fail. So they have to take something like with a big name like Star Wars or any name that you can say, Marvel or anything like that. And they have to do that because they know the name's attached. People are going to watch it. And they think they're going to get their message out like that. When it actually causes the opposite reaction.
What does Doomcock say? Cultural vandalism. Basically
cultural vandalism. I love that.
That exists, that has a fan base, and be like, okay, now we're going to twist it and manipulate it. Like,
it really is cultural vandalism.
Evil cannot create; it can only destroy and twist and manipulate. Right? It's turning all of the elves into orcs. Is what they're doing.
100%. So Hoffpower Concrete Simplified Crawfish Company came back with another $2 and says, "I'm not racist. I hate everybody equally." I used to actually use that joke all the time when I was in high school. That was like my go-to. One of my go-tos. I had a few. Gentlemen, I think we have to rename this podcast from Toxic Masculinity to Curtis KD5AYY Podcast because this guy, I love this guy. This guy's like our hero on this show. Curtis, we love you, man. Oh man, I can't believe I didn't remember this stream. Curtis, you should be very upset with yourself because this was the best one yet by far. There was a bickering. There was cat fighting. It was great.
Curtis, we have to talk about Mike Johnson. Did you hear about the Mike Johnson part? Mike Johnson, the Rhino. You know,
we got to go through a bunch of my ex-girlfriends real quick. All right. Do we have any more news stories? I'm just going to leave Curtis's comment.
What's my thing going to be? You hate Mike Johnson. You think he's a Rhino. You got to talk about ex-girlfriends, and I'm also here. I got to come with something. Next show,
every time we start the show, just go. Hi, I am Akata Franklin. I
don't think I can do the accent as well as you can, actually.
No. Nobody can make fun of the Chinese like me. Okay. Jason, do we have another news story real quick?
Let me see. We'll go with this one.
We're going real long today.
Yeah.
Megan. That's right, big boy.
Yeah, I like it. Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle.
I don't think it's Megan or
Meghan Markle. Who's that? Like, who is she? Somebody important or something? Meghan Markle, lifestyle brand launch with social media influencers skewered by royal watchers.
I didn't read this story. I must have missed this.
You haven't lived. Yeah, so she's launching a lifestyle brand, like Martha Stewart Living brand or whatever, Rachel Ray brand. You know how they all have their own cookware and like.
Wait, before you go into that, Kurt, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you like I interrupt Chris. Isn't it funny? Like the two opposites. You have what's the one married to the prince?
Does anybody else? I don't follow this, so I can't come up with it right away.
That is Meghan Markle. What are you talking about? Oh, Kate Middleton.
The other brother.
Kate Middleton. Yeah, you see the two differences. It's like apples and oranges. I mean, I just wanted to bring that up because it's incredible.
Oh, because you're saying Kate Middleton is actually nice. Yeah,
and she like accepted the situation she's in and came out like a woman, like a lady, like took it in the right way.
She looks like she has dignity and integrity.
Yes, and in this one you can clearly see it's a Hollywood
Meghan Markle comes across as an attention whore.
Yes.
She wants attention. She wants to be in the spotlight, and it's really ugly. Nobody likes people like that, you know?
Yeah, she's basically like Jada Pinkett Smith.
I mean, yes. I shouldn't talk. I do have a YouTube channel. Anyone with a YouTube channel is automatically a
call
dick.
Out the attention whores. It's glass houses.
Look at me, everyone! I have a YouTube channel. All right, hold on. We got a couple of more. Hoffpower
Meghan Markle thinks she's the main character.
Yeah, exactly.
Hoffpower came in with another tweet. He writes, "Kurt with the sweet shirts."
Yes, that's right.
And then Curtis again. We really do
have
need to
thing.
rename this show. He says, "Don't even get me started."
See,
on Mike
you see?
Johnson. Okay, so everybody hates. Listen, I'm not saying.
Let's get started. Let's get started.
I'll say this for the 16th time. I'm not saying that he's definitely not a Rhino. I'm just saying, like, cool your jets. Let's give him a little bit of time, and maybe that. Like, I think it's hard. Like, he's in a bad spot. I'm gonna go back to his other comment because I just don't want to hear the name Mike Johnson anymore. We've talked about him.
Same
enough.
here. Chris, I don't either.
All right, Meghan Markle. Let's get back to Meghan Markle, my absolute all-time favorite person. Lifestyle brand launched with social media influencers skewered by royal watchers. So I didn't read this story. I forgot. Jason, why don't you give us a little quick summary or whatever here?
Well, Kurt, I know Kurt specifically.
Yeah, I threw this one in, so I might as well take the responsibility. So her brand is called American Riviera Orchard, which sounds AI generated, but apparently it's not, because where they live, the nickname of it is the American Riviera. And I guess the orchard part is just like, it conjures up images of like baskets of fruit and whatnot. And actually, ironically enough, or fittingly enough, the first product that she's launching is strawberry jam. And apparently, this is now King, what is his name?
Charles.
Who's married to Diana? Charles, thank you. Yes, I really know all about these royals. I can't get enough of them. Formerly Prince, now King Charles. He started this thing years ago. That was actually the main thing that they do is they make jam. They have like jam. It's like $3.50 or something. And when he became king, the good son and daughter inherited that. Apparently, it's a $30 million a year.
William would be the good son.
William, yes. Not that I'm here to judge. But so yeah, she's basically going in direct competition with her brother-in-law and sister-in-law, selling her own jam, and people are speculating maybe she's going to like charge an obscene amount of money for it or something, but we haven't seen that yet. I think initially she just kind of gave it out to her friends, so she didn't even sell it, but it is an official American Riviera Orchard product, and she knows how to do calligraphy, so she signed it or hand wrote the little card next to it or whatever. But yeah, so there you go. She has launched her lifestyle brand. And
I have a question. Is she still a Duchess? Didn't they get rid of that?
I was
title?
looking into that, and I think that they address them as still having their titles. So I don't
they address them as that, but I thought I heard that they got rid of the titles for them. I'm just curious.
I thought so too, but in the article, it seemed to address them with those titles still having the titles.
You know what? You know what's interesting about this? I actually don't care.
Is there something? I was going to say, is there something interesting?
Exactly.
Well,
no, there isn't any.
Well, what I found was interesting was actually so they're doing the jam right now, right? And so they're speculating as to what other products she's going to have. Apparently, the one that is rumored to be the most likely product that's next going to debut is a purse with a special designed pouch for your husband's testicles. So that could actually be the kind of item that a lot of people who are Meghan Markle fans
in America, especially, there's a lot of women in America that will be buying that up. Yes. We should actually make that product because a lot of times women don't have pockets. That's true. They're dresses if they're wearing dresses. Dame Piglet threw in $2, and she asked a very important question, guys. Do we yet have a Toxic Masculinity T-shirt? We do not. I will actually get on that today. I will make a Toxic Masculinity T-shirt, and you will have them by next episode. I love that. Unbearable Truth just sent us
Chris, do we get one for free, right? We get one for free, right?
We should.
All right, I'll send you guys t-shirts. Unbearable Truth 199. Thank you so much, Unbearable Truth. I actually can't send myself. I suppose I could send myself a t-shirt. I don't know how long it would take to get here, though. I'm in Asia right now.
That's right. You're doomsday prepping out there in Asia.
Shh, quiet. No, I'm not. I'm just on vacation. What are you talking about? Hold on. Let's go. Darian Collins. Darian Collins is a new contributor. $5. Thank you so much, Darian. All right, so I'm 16 ounce Miller Lights in. 16
ounces.
OZ. That's ounces, right?
Yes,
16
yes.
ounce Miller Lights in. Trump 2024, Make America Great Again. Well, thank you very much, Darian. You know what? That is actually what this is all about. At the end of the day, you know what? What's funny about the Donald Trump Make America Great Again thing? I actually did a little video of this. I don't know if I posted this as a short. I think I did. If I didn't,
by the way, Chris,
I will.
Miller Lite is,
yes, I
is
did.
a beer. So Miller Lite is a beer. So he drank a 16 ounce of Miller Lite, and
you don't think I know what Miller Lite is?
Okay, for a second there, you were like, okay.
Well, because the way it's phrased, I'm 16 ounce Miller Lights in.
I need a Miller Lite.
I'm guessing he was going to say I'm X amount of 16 ounce Miller Lights in, because if I'm 16 blank ounce Miller Lights in, then he's either got a lot of tiny beers or he's an alcoholic. I got my 1 ounce Miller Lights. Here comes number 17.
Kurt now understands my confusion. Yes,
as an alcoholic,
it's an awkward phrasing.
Coming from here, yeah. I'd like to be.
But
16
listen,
Miller Lights in right now.
I had this little thing that I said about making America great again, and it was about Christianity. It was about our values. It was about how we used to be in this country, right? Mm-hmm. We used to be a nation that went to church. We used to be a nation that, kind of like hung out with each other and like celebrated 4th of July with our neighbors and stuff like that. Now we're all isolated. We kind of all hate each other a little bit. People are depressed, are on antidepressants all the time. And it's like, at the end of the day, what are the values of Christianity? The values of Christianity are be a good person.
Someone's celebrating Ramadan. Someone's celebrating the Chinese New Year. Someone's celebrating Passover.
Right.
Someone's it's.
Look, we used to respect each other, at least, on the surface. You know what I mean? We used to be polite to each other. Now you go on TikTok, you look at what's going on, and people in these brawls in the mall, and people are just like taking a poop in the street. You know what I mean? Like, we live in this weird country now where everything's gone to hell. And it's like, can't we get back to like what things were like in the 40s when you would get like a beautiful house with a nice picket fence, and to me, it's respecting your wife respecting her husband. Right now, husbands respect their wives don't respect their husbands. Not like, obviously the good conservatives, we still kind of like appreciate this. We have this idea that we want to live this way, and so we do practice this for the most part. But like half the country doesn't anymore, and we live in this hellhole. And like the Democrats, I don't know why they say it's like the stupidest thing, because how could anybody believe it? But this is what they say. They say, when Trump says we want to make America great again, what he means is we want to bring back slavery, or we want to bring back Jim Crow. It's like, no, we don't. What are you even talking about? It's like, America was never great, they say. But no, it actually was. You know why? Because people had principles. People had strong values. People celebrated Christmas with reverence, as opposed to like this, everybody fighting and hating each other and stuff like that. And we showed each other a modicum of respect. We showed the grocer respect. We showed the gas station attendant respect. Everybody was sort of respected and respected each other, and it was a nice country to live in. And Donald Trump wants to bring us back to that, and I absolutely. So that's what it's all about. Thank you, Darian Collins, for bringing that up, man.
Well, if America wasn't great and wasn't created and became great, why is everybody from around the world still wanting to come here if we're such a racist, horrible country?
I was thinking
because they get free, crappy food.
Yeah,
and
I hate when I see comments like MAGA Republicans or look at this MAGA, and I'm like, do you realize what you're saying? You have an issue with Make America Great Again. You have a real,
according to some people.
Yeah, no, but it's like, don't you realize what you're saying? You don't want America great. Like, it's funny. Like, they think they're using, like, they're laughing at us and they think they're winning, but by saying all that stuff, but they're not. I think regular normal people see that and be like, Okay, what is wrong with Make America Great Again? You know, so I mean, let them keep it up. Let them keep it up.
Absolutely.
It's
the opposite
weird, sick. We live in this weird, sick, twisted world. Yeah, I'm just going to talk. We live in this weird, sick, twisted world where the traditional values and the good and like the goods, what is traditionally considered good and right and wholesome and nice, is now painted as evil and horrible and awful, and like being, doing drugs and stuff and being a criminal is considered like the good progressive way to be. It's like we live in backwards world. It's crazy. Anyway, go on, Kurt.
No, that's basically what I was going to say. It's like because they're pushing, because the Democrats are pushing this idea of that what's valued by them. It's like oppression. Like who's the most oppressed? Who's the underdog, sort of a thing. And that's why we're seeing the problem too with like some of the younger people supporting the wrong people in the Middle East, because it's like, oh, Israel is not the underdog here. They're the better prepared. They're the better. They seem like the oppressors in this instance, and America can't side with them, and it's sort of like a race to the bottom. That's the culture of the left. It's like, okay, well, if you achieve something, if you have standards, if you sort of like, if you like this country, but basically anything positive is a negative. It's like absolutely right. Everything is flipped backwards, where we should all be. Either if we feel like our lives are good, we should be apologizing for it. When we feel like our lives are bad, well, then we have a grievance, and we should not only be unhappy, but we should be looking for some sort of reparations. That's a miserable sort of way to live for anyone who adopts this sort of mindset, whether you feel like you're the oppressor or the oppressed. If that's the two categories that exist in this culture, then you're just on your way to more.
I can't wait for the reparations. I'm sending my wife to go pick up some reparations. She's not even. She wasn't even born here. She's Dominican.
we figured out a way to monetize victimization in America, and not even victimization, the accusation of the claim of victimization. Sure. If you can claim victimization, you can somehow find a way to make money off that. It's ridiculous. Julie R, thank you so much. First time contributor. She says, glad you're back. Watched your first Toxic Masculinity show. Love Mr. Reagan, but missed the live format. Yeah, I used to do a show with the ex-wife. Yes, that's right, ex-wife. For a couple of years now, actually, ex-wife, but I just don't tend to talk about that stuff on my show. But yeah, I used to do a show with her, and she hated it. She hated being on camera. In fact, I would sometimes bring her on the show just like, a comment or something, like a little thing. After we did that live show, she just was like, I never want to do Mr. Reagan anything ever again. She like hated being on camera. It was weird. She was a very pretty girl.
She divorced you for it.
Yeah, that's why we got divorced. No, that wasn't the reason. But yeah, it was a kind of a weird situation, and so we kind of had to stop doing that show because. But this was always the original idea for the show. I told you guys years ago, like I wanted to do a show. Originally, what I wanted to do was have like professional comedians. I wanted to have it to be like a circle of professional comedians, and then I would host that show. But what I found was professional comedians today are in such high demand that you cannot get them to do a show right now because there's so few comedians that are willing to like say, like tell the truth and like, conservative comedians, that the ones who are out there doing the circuit, who are out there doing the clubs and stuff like that, they're making an absolute ton of money. You cannot, it's hard to get them to host anything. So I couldn't get anybody to do it, but I was like, oh, my buddy Kurt's funny. Jason's pretty funny. We'll get these guys on the show. We'll do a show. So that's kind of how this show was created. This was always the original concept for the format for the show. So I'm glad we kind of got to that. And thank you, Julie R, for watching the previous show and for this live stream as well. All right. Do we have any more news, or should we try to wrap it up here?
Yeah, we're like 35 minutes over.
Yeah,
we're gotta save something for next time. The people wanting more.
There's
all right. Darian has clarified himself here. He said, "I meant to say I'm 5 16-ounce Miller Lights in, but hey, America was built on drinking. Our founding fathers were alcoholics." Well, you definitely got a fan in Kurt Franklin here.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Not so much a fan as I'm envious, and I might have to be assessing my next step after this show ends. Maybe not 5 16-ounce Miller Lights, but Maybe one 12-ouncer might hit the spot though.
Half Power Concrete and Semperfied Crawfish Company sent us another $5. Very generous today. He says, if inflation was cotton, we'd all be picking it. I want my reparations too.
Oh, enough of this cotton picking inflation. All right.
The cotton picking inflation. I'll tell you what's interesting about cotton picking. It was not just something that black slaves did. We always associate with that because that's what we're taught in school. But a lot of poor white people pick cotton in the South. It was a big part of that culture, and it's a little bit annoying. It's sort of like lynching. Anytime you talk about lynching, they're like, "Oh, you're talking about the poor black people that were always innocent." Okay, first of all, they weren't always innocent. Secondly, a lot of white people got lynched, and we're not talking about like for racial issues. Like if you did something crappy in the Old West, they would hang you, or but lynching isn't even the word lynching we associate with hanging, but it's actually just a mob justice, right?
Yes.
That's what lynching is. It's mob justice.
Yep.
And that happened a lot historically in America, all the way up to like the 50s, 60s. In the later era, it got to be associated with like a racial thing, but that it's been true for a long time. So it annoys me. It's sort of like when we talk about the history of Germany. Okay, we talk about German history. Jason, what comes to mind? First
Hitler,
thought.
Nazis.
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, that region was inhabited for like thousands of years, probably. I don't know how long, like a long, long time. And of the written history that we have from the Roman era on, the history of Germany is absolutely fascinating, incredible history, but we only ever talk about like 20 years. Drives me crazy. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just feel like we focus so much on like a certain little things, certain negative things. It just annoys me.
Yeah, even Japan, most people probably think of the Hiroshima bombing first.
No.
You don't think so? What, Godzilla?
Probably Japanese schoolgirls. That's what
anime.
No, I don't know. Anime, sushi. A lot of people think of sushi. I mean, Japan has such a strong relationship with America now.
It's a cultural presence, sure.
Yeah, it's a cultural presence. I think most Americans know Japanese people. I studied Japanese actually in school. Weirdly,
it's funny though. Like nobody says oh, you Japanese. Like always like you Nazi and stuff, but the Japanese were just as bad as the Nazis and what they did, like they slaughtered Chinese. They were like bad too. But notice how the Japanese are not like attached to that stuff. But
I want to keep it that way. So shut up, Jason.
the German.
I got a quick.
The thing is, it's because Germany is a white nation. Japan is
well, you can criticize. It's true.
Yeah, so it's sad. It's sad.
I got a quick question for both of you guys. Do you think that the term
Jap was a white nation? Was.
Don't interrupt me right when I use a racial slur, Jason. Just at least leave it to a second after that. Do you think that should be considered an offensive racial slur? Because when I heard that growing up, the term Jap, like the World War II, soldiers would use that term. I always just thought it was like how like us Aussies call people from Indonesia like Indos. Like it's just like a shortened version of Japanese people. Like it didn't seem like it's necessarily considered.
I feel like it's probably only appropriate in wartime when you are actually fighting that country. But maybe I'm overly sensitive. But yeah, I wouldn't unless I was joking. I wouldn't be like if I called someone a Jap, I'd probably also call them like a Jap bastard or something like that because I was kidding. I would just casually just be like, oh yeah, my friend so and so is a Jap. I can throw in a couple extra syllables. I have that capacity.
I just don't feel like it's offensive. There's nothing like what is the association? Like I understand like the N word.
I just feel like it's kind of like it's like it just seems kind of dismissive. I don't like the sound of it. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that thinks that I get discriminated against or anything like that. I mean,
no, I know. That's why I think it's quite fascinating that you have this perspective.
I don't like it. I don't like the sound of it. I think it can be considered. If somebody considers it to be racially insensitive, fine. I can see that.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It just sounds like
this is the first time I hear about that. This is the first time I hear about that because Jap, back in the day, I used to hear was Jewish American princess.
That's true. That's also, that means that. But what's funny is because I had heard this term, like probably in war movies and stuff, I don't know. When I was like literally my first day in Japanese class when I was like 14 years old, I actually said Jap. And nobody in the class thought it was weird. Like everybody's just kind of like going about their business like whatever. And the teacher goes, "You're not allowed to say that. That's actually like a racial slur." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, I didn't know. I just don't think it should be actually. Like in hindsight, I think it's just a shortened word for Japanese person, which
well, you're just
lazy.
too beautiful for this world, Chris.
Yeah, maybe.
Be as accepting as you are.
But what did they used to call the Germans? Jerry's? They used to call the Germans Jerry's. What else do they call them?
Krauts.
Yeah,
Krauts. Yeah, I'm okay with that. You can call us the, I mean, I'm not actually like from Germany, but like I'm German, right? So you say Krauts, Jerry's, whatever it is you want to call a German.
I've never heard Jerry's before in my life. What is that about?
Yeah.
I think it's what the British used to call the Germans in World War II.
Okay.
I think it might come from a jerry can. I'm not 100% sure about that though. Anyway, yeah. I don't really see that as like a terrible thing. Scottish people are called Scots.
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
There's nothing offensive
that's
about
like the exact same thing as Japanese and Jap.
Yeah, literally the same
or,
thing.
Just
or the British
version.
Brit.
Are Brits?
Brits.
Kurt's had enough. It's like F you guys.
It's making a compelling case.
Yeah.
The Jap's back. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to say
that? Oh, by the way, when I said that Kurt's
actually,
thing
should be called a Jap because I'm only half Japanese.
That's true.
It's perfectly fitting.
By the way, the reason that I told Kurt that he should open every show by going, "Hi, I'm a Kurt Franklin." The reason I mentioned that is because
you racist,
Jason. Because that's like a Chinese little jingle, right? Traditionally, that's considered like a Chinese thing. I used to do that.
I don't know where it comes from, though.
I don't know where it comes from either. But I used to do that.
that?
I used to call Kurt the Chinaman because he's half Japanese. I used to call him the Chinaman, and I would go, "Oh, it's the Chinaman." Every time I saw him, that was when we were first friends, when we first met, and I did that.
Survived this long. It's a mystery.
I know. And then I had a buddy from Australia who was like legit the most racist person I ever met in my life. I mean, he was really only racist for the jokes, but he would make jokes about everybody. He used to call Mexicans in California, in LA where we lived, he used to call them tacos. Oh, look, there's another effing taco on the corner there. Like, he was like brutal. Like, the stuff he would say was crazy. And he used to crack me up. And one time I said this about, I think you wrote me an email or something, and at the end you wrote, "Your friend the Chinaman," and this is my buddy's name is Nick, and Nick goes, "Oh, what's he calling himself the Chinaman for? He's Japanese. So I thought he's Japanese." And I go, "Yeah, he is. I call him the Chinaman because it's funny, right? Because he's Japanese." And he goes, "Oh, that's not right, mate. Kurt's a good guy. You shouldn't call him that. Like you got like upset because he liked you so much." Yeah, he was so like he was so fond of Kurt.
To me, not fairly frequently, but it's on occasion people will be offended in my
for you
for me. Yeah, just like
that's
okay,
great.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess
all right.
We're offensive enough things as I should. I don't know.
We're kind of prattling on here, but what's weird is that I see that we have the highest number of concurrent viewers we've ever had on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like I don't want it to end. Like,
so now we know. From now on, we just have to start 5 minutes late, go 45 minutes over, and we're finally supposed to be watching.
No. For now on, Kurt. For now on, we have to talk about Mike Johnson.
Yes. You love that Johnson.
Isn't Mike Johnson like a Bart Simpson joke?
I don't think so.
I think it is. I think it's like he calls up and he says, like something Mike Johnson.
Yeah,
Bart pranking the The bartender, like one of those type of things.
Yeah, that kind of like because Mike Johnson is like
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's go with one last story. All
right, we got another story.
We'll
Let's do one last story.
Okay.
Let's do it, and we'll call it a day.
All right, Miller Lights can wait.
Let me pick a good one here. So, let's go with a post from N Wokeness in X. Joy Reid suggests that the criminal cases brought against Trump is racially biased vengeance by black officials.
We're going to end on this clown.
She even says, go DEI. My DEIs are bringing it home.
I remember this. I actually watched this on Twitter yesterday before you sent this to me. And this is the weirdest thing. Let me try to grab this so I can play the video for you guys because this. But
this was the goal that they had to place these black people into, like, especially the ones that weren't conservative or anything, ones that weren't qualified. It was so that when they attack like Trump or political figures or all that, like you can't.
Oh, you mean Joy Reid? Yeah.
No, I'm saying like even the attorneys and all these people are trying to put Trump in jail, like. Especially if they put a black woman, it's like you can't. They think like there's a safety there, like
the press secretary.
Yeah, like you can't say anything about them because that's a black woman, so you're a racist, you know. So
yeah, but she's culturally appropriating Trump's hair, so I think it's okay.
No, Joy Reid, I don't care. I don't care about her.
About the fact that despite the fact that even if convicted, he's not going to go to prison. The first person to actually criminally prosecute Donald Trump is a black Harvard grad, the very kind of person that his former staff, the people who worked for him, Stephen Miller, et cetera, want to never be at Harvard Law School. But he was. And he came out and graduated. He's prosecuting you, Donald. And a black woman is doing that same exact thing in Georgia. And a black woman forced you to pay a $175 million fine that's out now also in question because the people who put it up, that might not be legit. Donald Trump is being held to account by the very multicultural, multiracial democracy that he's trying to dismantle. And for me, there's something poetic and actually wonderful about that. It says something good about our country that we're still capable of having that happen. Go DEI. My DEIs are bringing it home on me.
Where my DEIs at? Where my DEIs at?
Yeah. And the truth comes out.
Look.
I'm sure Martin Luther King Jr. would agree, right? Wasn't that the goal of what he was working towards, where black people can unite to go on witch hunts and try to lynch white people? That's progress, right? The opposite of
exactly
what they will point to as being like the horrible things that happen in history. People.
That's the dream right there. That's the dream.
People being judged based on the color of their skin.
She's so trash. She's such a trash human being. She is a trash human being. Look at that wig. Okay. Nobody with that bad of taste should be on television.
My thing is like these people are really disgusting because they know what they're doing, and they're just making money off of it, and they just know what they're doing. They're like creating division in this country, trying to destroy this country, and they just don't care. Like that for me, that's the worst kind of human being ever. Like, it disgusts me.
I don't think anybody is buying this stuff anymore. I mean, you see the reaction that Joe Biden gets when he goes into a black-owned business and versus Trump. I mean, it's just like it's just like
you have little kids saying, "I love you."
You've got like we listen to her say this garbage and we cringe, but I think I can take solace in the fact that she speaks for no one. They have her on here because she's black and because she says the kind of crap that they want to project out there as their as like their talking points.
There is a certain demographic that
I was gonna say.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not like I don't want to say it's like just black women or something like that, but there's a certain sort of I don't know.
It's actually probably all white women, white liberals.
Mostly, I would say you're probably right. Yeah. It's just a subsection of the population. They actually agree with her. They like believe what she says. It's very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon. I think that there is a kind of desire for many people to. It's sort of like I was saying about like lying. You lie to somebody, you feel like you have something over them, like you're better than them. I think that there is a sense that people like to have, and it's true among conservatives as well, I think. Like, human beings like to believe that we're better than other people, or we're better than another group of people, or our group is better than the other group, right? That's where racism comes from. There's all this stuff. And in America, I think the biggest sort of bigotry that we have, the most significant bigotry we have, is between the political parties. Like, it's because it's not just a disagreement in political ideas anymore. It's like a vicious hatred of each other. And I think it's a lot softer on the right. I made this observation when I was younger. I was probably like in high school at the time. I made the observation that like a leftist who really believes in their leftism, they will not want to debate a conservative because they think conservatives are evil. You know, a conservative, that we want to date a leftist because we think leftists are wrong. Right? So we go, oh, you're wrong.
Did you catch that, Jason?
Let's. What is it?
You said a leftist won't want to debate a conservative, and you said conservatives want to date leftists.
No, I didn't. It was probably a hiccup on the.
Okay, maybe it was a hiccup, but
I heard that, Kurt. I heard that.
It was probably a hiccup in the audio video, but no.
Freudian
Conservatives want to debate leftists because we think they're wrong, right? But so, like, if you think somebody's wrong about something, you go, oh no, this is not. You have a misperception of this. This is what's really going on, right? You want to talk to them. Mm-hmm. But if you think they have a disease, like a contagious disease, you're like, whoa, get away from me. Leftists have this weird perception of conservatives, like we've caught the evil conservative disease and they don't want to catch it. So they don't want to get near us. It's this weird hatred. And so it is far worse that way to us, but it still works the other way. We don't like them either. But I think we're a lot more tolerant of them because we want to fix things. Like, we want to address the differences between us and come to some kind of mutual understanding and like potentially even educate them. But the left, they want to believe they're better than us. They want to hate us, and they want to believe they're right. And so Joy Reid to them is like candy. They absolutely love it. Look at this. Yeah. Look at this girl. Look at this girl. How could you not love that? How could you not love those two asymmetrical
It's so
eyeballs?
funny because they're like, they talk about appropriation and all that, and it's like in your face, like, look, I'm appropriating your culture and you can't do anything about it. But I can talk about you appropriating my culture. It's right now. It's just like a little kid in your face, and you can't do anything about it. It's crazy. It's like schoolyard stuff.
Yeah. Raising Mason threw $5 at us, and he writes, Kurt was like, I don't want to hear what Raising Mason has to say. Hold on, let's get Kurt back. He says, I mean, if she's got a sweet hairdo like Joy, I mean, if she's got a sweet hairdo like Joy, you would want to date her, not debate her. Oh, sorry, you would want to date her and debate her. That's actually hilarious. Correct me if I'm wrong, Raising Mason, but I believe that's sarcasm.
The Trump hair wig is totally attractive.
Yeah, that's sexy, man. Curtis again. Good God, Curtis. This is too much. You're too generous, my friend. KD5AYY. $100. He writes, I really want to see the owner of a black-owned business watch Joe Biden walk in and just tell him, man, get the F out of here.
Yes. I would love. Yes.
There are black men who own businesses who definitely would say that for sure. This is why they actually can't do what they did with Trump, with Biden.
Yep.
They took Trump recently. We covered this in the last video, I think. They brought him into what was the place? It was a Chick-fil-A or something, right?
Chick-fil-A. It was a Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, and he bought them all milkshakes and everything. And people were giving him hugs, and they loved him, and he was kind of riffing off people and stuff like that. Nobody had a bad word to say about Trump. Was this like a stage thing where they specifically brought in Trump supporters? I don't know, maybe, probably. But those people really loved Trump. And Trump was actually really genuine with these people, really nice. It was like
you have one girl walk up to him. You have one girl walk up to him out of nowhere and just like
and hug him.
I think just like stick through it, and we love you, and he actually went and told her to come and hug him and
don't listen to the media. They don't speak for us. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was awesome. And you would never get a moment like that with Joe Biden. pay attention to when Joe Biden is doing something like that, because it's always like set up. It's curated, right? Everything is perfectly curated.
Any Democrat, like if you go back and you take Hillary, remember she was telling them that she had like hot sauce in her purse, carries hot sauce. Like man, come on, people. Like and you're talking about racism. Like
I'm just like you. I'm just like you Negro folks. You see this? I got hot sauce in my purse, and I talk like you too. You know,
and I don't think she even showed the hot sauce. I don't even think it was just a pander. And then you have Joe Biden sitting with a family eating fried chicken. Like, I mean, come on, man.
So Joy Reid
doesn't even get the fried chicken. He eats a hamburger.
So that's Joy Reid on MSNBC.
I was waiting for him to bust out like watermelon or something. Like it's crazy, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Kurt.
So MSNBC is that's your hardcore leftist watching MSNBC. So yeah, I'll amend my previous statement and say that she speaks for no one. Nobody's listening to her. A very small audience is listening to her, because how many people watch CNN, MSNBC? I think a lot of people that watch CNN are not Americans. They played in airports. And
stuff. You have family members who I believe you have complained to me that watch MSNBC, and
the people that watch believe it. The people that watch that kind of stuff are the same people that watch all the tabloid trash. They watch Entertainment Tonight, kind of that kind of stuff. They just the people that watch all kinds of crap, they're listening to her. But I mean, I think that's why the ratings of these stations are so in the dumps. That's why they're all on the verge of collapse, because the majority of people don't buy this crap. Literally,
Demon Slayer threw us $10 and he says, "FYI, you guys got to watch the Tucker interview with Jesse Kelly." I did see that. I was meaning to watch. I didn't have time to watch it last night, but I do want to watch it. Jesse Kelly is pretty cool. I do like Jesse Kelly. I don't know if I agree with everything that he says, but I think he's all right. And I think he's going after. I think I saw a clip or something. He's going after Crenshaw, because Crenshaw's like a real weird dude. Like we had all this hope that Dan Crenshaw was going to be this awesome conservative, and he ended up being this total Rhino douchebag. I think Demon Slayer, I think he gave me $10 twice somehow. So if you want that money back, I think there's a way to get it back. I guess I could PayPal you or something like that, or just don't send me any money ever again. But I want to thank everybody for the super chats. Today has been a very lucrative super chat day, which is really good, because I've been really hoping that we can continue doing these. It's hard to get these guys. You guys like doing the show. We've talked about this. They like doing the show, and I really appreciate it, and I respect it. And I've been trying to get them paid, get them a little bit of money for this, because I feel like it's not something I can keep asking them to do just, because it's fun. But I'm hoping that the show gets more and more popular, and we get to a point where, maybe our production quality is a little bit better, and we get a big audience, and we can maybe start shifting the culture one way or the other. I didn't realize when I started the show, I didn't realize that it was going to be such a small audience. I thought it was because normally I have a lot more viewers watch my live streams. I don't know why these are so small. I think because YouTube's throttling my channel massively because it's an election year now. So I think I can just read the super chats as they come. Originally, I was expecting there to be far more, and I would have to read them at the end. But I think that the way that we're doing it today, I think we'll start doing this every day. So anytime you have a super chat, throw it in this thing, and we will read it. Demon Slayer threw us another $10, and he writes, Julie Kelly. I've met Julie Kelly. Jesse Kelly explains why Trump won't go through with his deportation plan. Republicans are too much of cowards to follow through mass deportation. Yes. I mean, I kind of agree with that, but I also think that it's so absolutely 100% necessary that we do it, that he may be able to find a way to do it that somehow doesn't make it look that bad. I wouldn't care. If I was president, I'd be like, get the SWAT teams out, pick them up, get them on a plane, fly them out. I wouldn't even land the plane.
Media.
I don't care. Fine, do it. I would fly them over Mexico and literally push them out of the plane with a parachute and be like, "Good luck," you know? Like I wouldn't even land the plane. I'd just push them out. Anyway, maybe there's a little hyperbole there, but
I mean, you sure do that with the leftist media, but what are you going to do with the immigrants?
all right. Trump's back. Trump's back.
We can throw them out of the plane without parachutes.
Without the parachutes.
Nah, I'm joking.
I had a joke like that at some point. I was on some show. Somebody. I've lost it. I have no idea what I said. Anyway, it was funny. I promise. I was funny once, years ago. How embarrassing! How embarrassing. Oh, okay. Do you want me to end the show? Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We've got 3 hours. This is crazy. We're gone too long. Do you guys want me to end the show with the most embarrassing story ever? No, I'll save it for another story. Yeah, I'll save it for another show.
Yeah.
All right.
Your stories are like 1 hour long.
Whoa. Okay, mom. Okay, mom. Sure.
Jason has responsibilities. He has people that love him. He has like all these things that you and I don't understand, Chris. We have to let him know.
Yeah,
his time is valuable.
All right, we'll let you go. And
it's probably just going to be another girlfriend Tinder, who knows, whatever story, you know.
We got a new super chat from somebody by the name of the Eerie Fairy Tales. I believe you've been on in the comment section before. Thank you so much for the $2. She writes, "Toxic masculinity, love the new format." Well, thank you very much. I think that's a great super chat to end on. We love all you guys. Kisses, XOXO. And we will see you on Monday, because it's Thursday today.
Yes.
I lose track of the days because I don't have a real job. Okay. Dame Piglet threw one last one in saying, maybe make some shorts to advertise the stream. Yeah, we did that in the first one. I should be doing that again. We've discussed that. Thank you very much for the reminder, and we'll talk about it after the show. Thank you guys again. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night, you guys.